in between that.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Jennifer Matchey is suing her ex-boyfriend, Jerry Heck, for an unpaid loan to buy a motorcycle, an insurance deductible, and an assault.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor's case number 246 on the calendar in the matter of Matchey versus Heck.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat.
Miss Matchey, the defendant and you were a couple and lived together, according to what I read, for about 2 years?
No, ma'am. We were not living together. We did
Never?
date. No, never.
Did you have your own home?
I did. I had an apartment. I have an apartment, which I've had since October of 14.
When did you and the defendant begin a relationship?
And September of 14.
This case has many components. Let me try to simplify it if I can. One is for a loan.
Correct.
Which you say you took out on his behalf with a promise for him to pay that loan. It was for a motorcycle. It was actually to refinance a motorcycle. You bought a motorcycle, sir?
I already owned a motorcycle, ma'am.
You were paying out.
I was paying out payments of 29.9%.
Which is very high interest. When had you purchased the motorcycle?
Purchased my motorcycle in June of 2013.
So about a year before you met the plaintiff.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were making payments on it faithfully?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, that motorcycle was paid off by a new loan that the plaintiff took out on your behalf.
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
I believe February of 2000.
15.
Correct, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
14.
It was refinanced by me January 30th of 2016.
And what was the interest rate then?
4.9.
Quite a difference. Now, you were still dating in January of 2016?
Yes, ma'am.
So in February, the first payment would have been due on the new loan, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Who paid that?
I did, ma'am.
And what about in March, the next payment? And what amount were those payments, sir? What
They were
was the monthly?
$155.
And what had you been paying a month?
$270.
Did you make March's payment as well?
Yes, ma'am.
In the amount of $155?
Yes, ma'am.
What about April?
Yes, ma'am.
There came a time when you stopped making the payments.
Yes, ma'am.
In what month?
I made the first 5 payments.
So you made payments in February, March, April, May, and June.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you stop?
Because she was to be taking over the payments at that time. I agreed to pay the first. I did not sell her the bike. She used the bike as collateral to obtain money to pay for a custody battle she had with her ex. She had to pay the lawyer, and that was the purpose of the bike being refinanced, to obtain cash.
Was the loan that she took out greater than the loan that you had?
Yes, ma'am. $2,084.
What was the remaining balance on the... This is getting more complicated. The remaining balance when it was refinanced in January of 2016 was how much?
$3,500.
Was the remaining balance on
Yes,
your
ma'am.
loan? And how much of a loan did you take out?
I took out a loan for approximately $5,600.
Okay. Which means that you had more than enough money to pay off his loan. What did you do with the other $2,000?
Actually, they gave him a check, which I have right here, and he cashed it.
May I see it? He can cash it. What I'm asking you is the loan that was outstanding was only $3,500 left.
Correct. And then he got to keep the difference. That's the check that my bank gave him because he sold me the bike for that amount, or ultimately sold the bike to me because I wanted the title in my name. I wasn't going to just let him have everything, you know, the title and the loan and such.
Well, he had already been paying off this bike for a couple of years.
He was approximately 2 weeks. I was resistant at first and hesitated also prior to doing it. However, he was my boyfriend. I loved him, and I wanted...
Well, that's sort of interesting. He was my boyfriend, and I loved him. I need collateral.
Oh, collateral? I know. I refinanced his motorcycle for him.
I understand that, but then you wanted it in your name.
Absolutely, because it was my loan.
I understand. But it sort of doesn't go together with I love you, but now I'm going to take out this loan, but now I want it in my name. It
Well, it's
probably
business.
good sense. What did you do with the motorcycle? You sold it.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the original company that you had financed with sent you the title because there was no longer a lien on it because you paid off the lien.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
right? And in what month and year did you sell the motorcycle?
June 13th.
Of this year?
2016.
To whom?
The motorcycle dealership that I originally purchased it from.
Did you buy another motorcycle?
No, ma'am.
So you sold it back to the company?
Yes. I was having no luck on Craigslist, and
You were what?
I needed selling it myself, and I'm laid off, and I needed money.
Fine. How much did you get for it?
$4,000, ma'am.
How much is left on the loan?
The balance on the loan now is $6,300. They've added insurance, interest.
I'm not getting involved with that. Tell me, sir, about this money that you needed for a lawyer for custody battle.
And there was a guardian of a litem appointed to the case, and she came from her last court date, and he had won. She was losing, and he had gained full custody, and he got that she had to pay half of her charges, which was
half of the
very
guardian's charges.
Yeah, which was a couple thousand. So she needed money, and she was off on disability, so she wasn't able to do it. And also, her car was upside down, so we used my bike to use as collateral for her to take, because it had equity in it.
She took out some cash, but she also paid off your bike.
Yes.
Okay. But if the loan was $5,600, sir, let's just say it was $3,500, you made 5 payments of $155. That's still a lot of money that you owe her, because you sold the bike and took all the benefit.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's say it's just $3,500, and that I believe everything you say about the lawyer, because that's too convoluted for you to make up. But you made 5 payments of $155. Forget about it, everything else, insurance or anything for the moment. $155 times 5 equals $775. And let's say the original loan was $3,500 less $775 equals $2,725. And to that, I'm going to ask, because you haven't paid money and there was interest on it. So now you owe her $3,000. So you got $4,000. So you ended up with $1,000 for the motorcycle. But I can see no reason why you shouldn't pay her back this $3,000.
I didn't have a problem with that, ma'am. After I sold the bike, I paid 2 payments after I sold the bike, or 1, whatever it is. But she came to me that her credit union was upset that there's no insurance on the bike. Well, I didn't have a bike to insure. So she went to take the, she's telling me sue me, which we're doing right now. And I said, let's just get an agreement. Because at this time, which I should have done in the beginning, was get a written agreement how we did all this. I learned my lesson on that. And she refused. All she wanted was the full payment. She didn't want to drag it on. We were broke up, but I had no access to do that.
Then you should have paid her when you sold the bike in June. Anyway, so far you owe her $3,000. Now you have other parts to this lawsuit. You claimed that you had a fight with him and he assaulted you.
Yes,
on
ma'am.
what date?
On April 20th, 2016. This was the beginning of the end.
Just a second. When was the last time you dated? I thought that was in June.
No, it was in April when we had the altercation and I
Okay.
filed a restraining order.
Fine. Tell me about what happened.
He got upset. And
Over this money?
No, it
Over
wasn't
what?
even about the motorcycle. It was just, I was
Okay.
unhappy. So after some cocktails, he tends to not really...
Did you have cocktails or just him?
Oh, no, I did too.
So you were both a little inebriated and you had an argument?
Yes.
Okay.
Where he tackled
Fine.
me. And
Okay, fine. Did you go to the hospital?
Yes, I actually had to go to Aspen Orthopedic. It was a re-injury of my rotator cuff, and have an MRI done and such. The police did come and take him, of course, as well, and they said that I will need another rotator cuff surgery.
What were you on disability for?
For the original rotator cuff incident.
Okay. We're going to leave that. We're going to come to insurance deductible.
Yes, ma'am. He actually came a couple of days later after the police took him away and showed up at my door. And I don't know how he got in my locked building. And when I opened the door, I was shocked to see him, certainly. He walked in and he said he needed to get something. I said, you're not allowed to be in the building. He then came in, was trying to make himself comfortable. I was very uncomfortable myself. Conversation ensued. I might have said something about his father. He thought that was derogatory, which was not my intention at all. He picked up a vase and threw it at me across my living room, kept throwing stuff through my toaster oven at me, broke tons of stuff. And they paid most of it, but except for $500, my deductible, which I have that documentation.
I'd like to see it. How did her property get destroyed, sir?
She threw a vase at me. I ducked. It went and hit her oven. And the police took me to my sister's and my mother's. They did not take me to jail. I'm a 300-pound guy. If I would hit her, they'd know it.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When two people get drunk and have a fight, I'm not getting in between that.
Yeah, when she started in, I should have left, but I was drinking, so I couldn't drive to leave.
That's what happened that night. The two of you had too much to drink and had a fight.
And later today,
So you called him and said, could you loan Adrian money to buy a car?
No, ma'am.
Oh, I don't believe that. That you called him and said, could you lend Adrian money to buy a car and I'll pay you back when I sell the houses. He didn't make up that story.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jennifer Matchey says ex-boyfriend Jerry Heck owes for a loan for a motorcycle, an insurance deductible, and an assault.
Okay, listen. When two people get drunk and have a fight, I'm not getting in between that. That's what happened that night. The two of you had too much to drink and had a fight.
Yeah, when she started in, I should have left, but I was drinking, so I couldn't drive.
Up any of the stuff in her house and threw it. She threw the vase at you first?
Yes.
What'd she say about
She
your
hit
father?
me first.
She
Started
hit you
punching me in the
first.
back. The previous incident, she punched me in the mouth, and I just shoved her off, and she was drunk, so she stumbled into the wall, and that's where she injured her shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And there was no...
And they took me home that time, too. I've never been to jail.
Just 1 second. And at that time, at the time that he came into your apartment, you had a temporary protective order, is that right?
No, I got it after that.
So you didn't have any protective order, so what do you mean he's not allowed in your building?
My manager of the building, because she witnessed the police.
Don't tell me what she
Okay.
witnessed. I'm not interested in what you
well,
think
she
somebody
said
else
that he could
witnessed,
not
and
come
I'm
in
not
there.
interested in what you think she said.
Well, that's what she
All I'm asking you is, at the time that he entered your apartment and you let him in for the second time after this alleged incident when you were both drunk, you had no protective order.
Correct.
Okay, fine. Did you have a trial for the protective order, sir?
No, ma'am.
You did not?
No.
Did you consent to her having a protective order?
No, I was just told later on that she had filed one.
Did you ever get a permanent protective order?
No.
He owes you $3,000 for the loan, and that's it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. The remainder of your claims are dismissed. We're done.
Please excuse me, step out.
I believe it was fair.
I got awarded the $3,000.
She got injured when she hit me in the mouth, and I pushed her away.
He got drunk and threw me against the wall, and it's that simple.
Hopefully, she learns her lesson like I've learned mine.
I just want it to be peaceful. Just go our own ways and call it a day.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bird versus Islas, step forward.
24-year-old Craig Bird Jr. and his mother, Julie, are suing Craig's grandmother, Ninfa Islas, for an unpaid loan and stolen property.
Mr. Bird, this is your grandmother,
Yes, ma'am.
and this is your mother.
Yes.
Which one of you loaned her the money for the car?
I did, Your Honor.
And it is your claim that you loaned your grandmother this money so that she could purchase a car or assist in purchasing a car for her son. Now, when did you loan her the money?
On June 8th, 2015, Your Honor.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you loaning her the money.
Well, the initial agreement was I'll loan her the money for her to get her son a vehicle, and she would repay me after she sold her houses, and that never happened.
Well, where were you when you had this conversation?
In Colorado, on the phone.
Did she call you or did you call her?
She called me.
And tell me what she said to you.
She asked me if I could
No,
loan her
tell me
son.
exactly what she said.
She said, grandson, can you loan Adrian? That's a lot of money. She said, I will repay you when I get my houses. And when I sell my houses, you know, I'm putting them up to go for sale on the market.
Did she say when she was putting them up for sale?
No, but they were... Present time. They were already there for sale. So I knew that
So
they were...
she said, I'll pay you for the loan when I sell my houses.
Yes, ma'am.
Has she sold her houses?
Yes.
Did she pay any part of it when she sold the houses?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because I don't owe him any money.
No. Did he hand the money to you?
No, ma'am.
Who did you hand the money to?
I handed it to her son because he was in Colorado with me. She was in Texas selling her houses.
I see. Now I understand, Mr. Bird. Now I got it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have a ridiculous countersuit, which I probably won't even entertain. And I'm not entertaining your complaint for emotional distress, because the only one that's usually emotionally distressed after a day here is me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Craig Bird Jr. and his mother, Julie, claim Craig's grandmother, Ninfa Islas, owes for a loan and stolen property. Ninfa is countersuing for damaged and missing.
Okay, so you called him and said, could you loan Adrian money to buy a car?
No, ma'am.
You never called him?
No.
No, I
ma'am.
don't believe that. He didn't make up that story. He didn't make up that story, that you called him and said, could you lend Adrian money to buy a car and I'll pay you back when I sell the houses. He didn't make up that story. Where is Adrian now? Do you know?
No, ma'am.
In the wind. Where's Adrian now?
I don't know.
Good. Did you sell any of the houses that you had up for sale?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, $2,100. That's for you, on the car.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, there's lots of other little issues here that I don't know whether we want to get into. You have a ridiculous countersuit, which I probably won't even entertain. And I'm not entertaining your complaint for emotional distress, because the only one that's usually emotionally distressed after a day here is me. You claim that at some point your grandmother took property from the house where she was staying that didn't belong to her.
Yes,
Did
Your
it
Honor.
belong to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what she took.
She took miscellaneous items as rake, trash cans.
Listen, my parents didn't send me to school for dozens of years so that I could deal with a rake and trash cans between a daughter and a mother.
There were expensive items. An air conditioner.
Let's get to...
There was an air conditioner and also a barbecue grill.
An air conditioner, a window air conditioner?
Yes.
Was it in the window?
No, it was in the garage where the items were that she took were.
Did you take an air conditioner when you moved out?
My home is central. I don't need it.
So the
I
answer
did
would
not
be,
take it,
the
no,
answer
ma'am.
would be no. Okay. A barbecue grill. What kind of barbecue grill?
An outside barbecue grill, like a smoker. They also picked that up. We asked them to bring it back. They didn't bring it back.
Did you take the smoker?
That belongs to him.
Who is him?
Alfred Medina, my son.
You bought the smoker?
Yes, ma'am. I paid $25 for it, and it was mine. I took it.
Sit down. I'm not dealing with the smoker either. All right, so we're finished with you. You get your loan back of $2,100.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, just for giggles, you want to tell me you came to live with them for a period of time. It didn't work out. There was some sort of major kerfuffle, and you had to leave. So you want them to pay for your motel expenses, the security things that you think that they're responsible for?
Yes, ma'am.
They're not. Okay, how old are you?
I'm 58.
Well, then you'd be responsible for your own living expenses. Money owed for damaged and missing property. What property? And you notice how quickly I resolved their property issue of the rake and the smoker and the air conditioner from the garage. So I want you to tell me what missing property that you claim they have that belongs to you.
I have a Virgin Mary that is very priceless to me.
Okay. I can't help you with the Virgin Mary that's priceless to you. You don't have it anymore. What else?
In my property, I lost all my tools that I had recently used to remodel both of the homes that I had sold in Amarillo.
Counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,100. We're done.
Your Honor.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The German Shepherd took off.
So it was not on a leash.
Not at that time, no.
The neighbors saw it all unfold.
The German Shepherd was in front of Cody's house, sniffing around. And that's when his pit bull had came out.
And the attack was hard to watch.
The dog had then latched onto my dog's neck, pulling.
Her daughter, Krissa, did have a lot of blood on her.
Your dog was out of your control.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judy.
Laura Sazwa is suing her neighbor, 22-year-old Cody McMaster, for vet bills as the result of a dog fight.
Order. All rise. Yes, case number 301 on the calendar in the matter of Sazwa versus McMaster.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Sazwa, it is your claim that while you and this is your daughter
Yes.
were walking your two dogs.
Right.
You have a large dog and a small dog.
Yes.
Show me where you live in relation to the defendant. I see you live where there's a P and defendant is the D.
I live here, and Cody lives right here. There is a small house that lives back between us, with a tenant there.
You were walking your dogs on what date at what time?
Okay, what had happened was we have a backyard and we have actually 3 dogs. The 2 dogs that were going to be going out were a Chihuahua and a German Shepherd, and we chained them up. Went to chain up the German Shepherd, and I had the little one in my hand, and the German Shepherd took off.
The German Shepherd took off, so it was not on a leash?
Not at that time, no.
Okay. Go ahead. So the dog was not on a leash.
Right. She took off, went into his yard somehow, because he does have a fenced street. I yelled for Chris and my daughter here, hurry up and get a leash and go get Layla, because she was in Cody's
Go get
yard.
Layla, because Layla was on his property.
In his property. And so that's what she did. She would have got the leash. I went across the street and got the Chihuahua. Chris is walking out of his backyard, out of the driveway. A truck pulls up and knocks on Cody's door for a few seconds.
Okay, just a second. You glossed over that for me. So your daughter went and got a leash.
Yes.
Stand up. And what did you do when you got the leash?
I got the leash and I ran over to our defendant's property and grabbed the dog. I leashed her. I then walked to the front of his yard where the street lined up, and my mom was coming, and I...
Just a second. At that time, your dog was leashed?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at that moment, were you on his property or the street?
When I was walking my dog home, I was on the street.
You weren't home yet?
No.
So tell me what you saw.
I was waiting for my mom to bring my smaller dog with. We were going to go then walk them. There was someone at his house that opened the door. 2 large pit bulls came out.
Were you the one who opened the door?
No.
Who opened the door?
My roommate.
Who's not here?
No.
Well, what did she see?
She's a neighbor across the street, and she's seen the whole interactment.
Okay, great. You were a neighbor?
Yes.
Okay, he wasn't home?
No. Rivera.
Okay, Miss Rivera, I want you to go over to that map and show me at what point you began watching the action.
Well, actually, I was in my driveway.
Show me where you live.
Right here.
Okay.
But there's an empty lot right next door to my house.
Okay.
And my driveway is right in here.
Okay.
I was outside that afternoon cleaning out my trunk, and Laura's little dog came running across the street into my yard.
Okay. And when she came running across the street into your yard, I assume Miss Sazwa came and got her.
Yes.
Did you see her daughter?
No.
So far her story is correct.
Yes.
That the dogs got out, the Chihuahua ran across the street, she went to get the Chihuahua.
Yes.
What's the next thing that you saw?
As she had her dog in her arms, she was walking back across the street towards her property, and her German Shepherd was following behind her.
Behind
her? Yes.
Behind?
Laura. I don't know her. I'm sorry, I don't know her last name.
Okay, so her German Shepherd was following behind her, and?
Yes. As she was walking back, the German Shepherd had stopped in front of Cody's house.
Where exactly?
Right here in the front yard, because he's got a pull-up driveway, and the German Shepherd was in front of Cody's house, in front of his driveway, sniffing around.
Okay, on the lawn, because you're pointing to 2.
Here in the front.
Okay, that's the front yard.
Yes.
Where was the dog sniffing around?
In the front yard, just because he's got a couple trees and stuff out there.
Okay, go ahead.
And that's when someone came and knocked on Cody's door, and they had opened up the door, and that's when his pit bull had came out.
Did you see what happened when his pit bull
Yes,
came?
I did. At first, they were just growling. I'm sorry. At first, they were just growling, you know, like barking and
So you
growling.
observed this?
Yes.
At any time, did you see this young lady?
Only at the end of it, when she had jumped in and tried to separate them.
That's the first time you saw her?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
When the dog came out, the roommate was able to, like, kind of get him to, like, stand away for a second, but they were both kind of just, like, growling and, you know, antagonizing each other. And that's when they kind of just... They both went in for each other. They both just launched in.
Now, when they went after each other, I'm going to ask you to make one more trip back to that poster. When they were going after each other, can you show me where exactly that was?
Well, at this point, they were more towards the front of Cody's house in the street on Arthur.
So they were in the street?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And it was at that point that you saw this young lady?
Yes.
Trying to get them apart?
Yes.
When did you see Mr. McMaster?
About maybe 5 to 7 minutes after everything was happening, because his roommate had came out and they were throwing water on the dogs to separate them, and we couldn't get them apart. I mean, there were other people on the block that were, you know.
But they managed to get one of the dogs away, so it was just the 2 dogs that were fighting?
No, Your Honor, it was only 2 dogs involved in the fight, not 3.
No, but he has 2 pit bulls.
Yeah, but only one
Only
got
one
out.
was involved. Only one got out, and one was involved with the fight.
Right.
Okay.
At this point, everyone was just trying to separate them. Okay. And that's when Laura had ran inside and grabbed her cell phone and was saying, I'm going to call the cops. You know, my daughter's probably injured, because her daughter, Krissa, did have a lot of blood on her. And we all thought, you know, she did get, you know, punctured wounds or something because she was in the middle of the fight. But in reality, it was just the blood from the dogs latching onto each other.
I believe her.
You do?
I do. I believe her.
She wasn't
You have
there.
to pay your own vet bills.
She wasn't there.
I believe her. Your dog was out of your control and was actually, make it a great lie. She would say that the fight took place in his front lawn, but it actually didn't. It took place in the street. It had moved out to the street.
Right, and it actually went a little further down because that's where the dogs were just wrestling with each other and moved further down, more towards Laura's house.
So it's a lesson for you. You had vet bills of $300 some odd. What?
Can I ask a question? Are you
No,
related?
No, just a second.
I'm sorry.
Ask.
I'm sorry.
Tell me what you want to ask her.
I wanted to know if they were related.
No.
They're not related. She's just telling the truth.
Well, it's...
She's just telling the truth. Your dog was not leashed. You told that story because that story, if your dog was actually leashed and his dog was out of his control, then they would be responsible for your vet bills. But you have 2 dogs that were out of their owner's control, and they had a fight. And your dog got the worst of the bargain. What?
I would just like to do my my story of what had happened. It's quite different than hers.
You can tell whatever story you like. I'm telling you, I don't believe that you had your dog on a leash. You going to tell me you had your dog on a leash? But just a second. Are you going to tell me you had your dog on a leash?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The dog had then latched onto my dog's neck. My dog was scared to death and whining. Okay.
I don't believe your dog was on a leash during this fight.
And later today,
If you were told not to spray in May or June of 2015, did I get it?
You did.
Bingo.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Laura Saswell claims neighbor Cody McMaster is responsible for vet bills resulting from a dog fight.
Okay, you going to tell me you had your dog on a leash?
When the dog got attacked, my dog was on a leash.
Yes. Go show me.
Okay. The dog did get out, was in Cody's property, okay? So while I was latching my dog, someone banged on his door and said, they didn't say anything.
While you were latching your dog?
On the leash.
Go ahead.
I then brought my female dog, Layla, out to the street. My mom and I were going to walk our dogs. We were already over here, and the two dogs dove right at us. We were all the way over here, and the dog had then latched onto my dog's neck, pulling, and would not let go. My dog was not fighting back. My dog was scared to death and whining, and I had fell to the ground. The dog had scratched me several times. He has two dogs. The two dogs were out. The two roommates, his second dog was the attacker. Okay.
I don't believe your dog was on a leash during this fight.
Your Honor.
What?
She was saying that my dog wasn't attacked, but I have pictures showing injuries from the fight.
I believe that your dog might have been injured. Pay for your own dog's injuries.
No, I know. I took care of him. I was just...
Yeah, pay for your own dogs. They were both out of control. She has a large dog. The large dog, A, was trespassing on your property at some point, so that you have two dogs who clearly are designed for protection. You have two pit bulls?
Yeah, pit bulls.
Mm-hmm. And you had her large dog that was on your property, was loose on your property, and I don't know what was going on inside because I would have actually liked to have heard the roommate, but you brought the right witness. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Pay your own vet bill.
Why does that excuse you? Step out.
He's irresponsible, and he knows that.
I feel like it was very fair.
If you're going to have an animal, take care of it.
We're neighbors. I mean, we got to live together.
Dogs are the ones that's going to suffer from this, from him being careless.
I hope we can be civil.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Larkin versus Nelson. Step forward.
Brady Larkin,
is suing James Nelson for car damage as the result of lacquer overspray.
Mr. Larkin, you maintain a storage unit in which you keep motorcycles and some other vehicles because you're a collector. How many vehicles do you have?
370 El Caminos and then 2 Harley Davidsons.
Okay. Do you have pictures of the cars?
I do.
I'd like to see them. And the storage unit, I assume, is a big one.
About 1,000 square feet.
Your claim is that Mr. Nelson was negligent in spraying some things that he had in his storage unit, which is in the same vicinity as yours. And because he was careless, gunk got on your cars or vehicles. When did you notice that these cars had gunk on them?
When I removed them from storage in the spring of 2016.
Give me the month.
April, I believe it was.
And prior to that, when had you seen the cars?
I've been in my unit a couple times over the winter, but
okay, well, give me prior to April of 2016. When did you see the cars?
I would suppose I stopped in there every month or so. I was in the same building at another unit that my business was in.
So you saw them a month before?
Right, but I didn't physically, take them out, wash them, and notice the damage.
So you don't know when this damage took place?
Sometime over the winter time.
Which is a long period of time. Okay, what is this a picture of?
That is the wall between Jim's unit and my unit. Shows that the previous tenant tried to seal up said leaks, I guess, which obviously wasn't done correctly.
What leaks?
Well, the building is not the best construction. It's kind of a little lower income.
That you found in April?
It's overspray. And, my witness can explain overspray a little better than I can. And
well, I would like to hear what that is.
Okay. Mike, and then
Tell me what your name is.
Mike Warner from Fargo Moorhead Custom and Collision. I have my own body shop. I've been doing paint work for about 40 years, 35 years. Overspray is a product from the air pressure in the gun turning the liquid into a spray form. It makes a mist, and it's a very fine mist, and it can get in any cracks like a gas. So any adjacent rooms, if you don't have proper ventilation, the overspray can fall on it, but it's paint, so when it dries, it doesn't come off so easy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you buff it, it does come off.
Yes. Sometimes you got to work harder than others, depending on how thick it is.
Well, see, sometimes I work harder, sometimes you work harder, sometimes a fix is easy, sometimes you're sweating over it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Brady Larkin says James Nelson owes for car damage as the result of lacquer overspray.
Go ahead.
There's 2 ways to take it off. Either buff it with a machine or chemical, and chemicals can obviously wreck some stuff.
Okay. When you buff it.
Yes. Sometimes you got to work harder than others, depending on how thick it is.
Well, see, sometimes I work harder, sometimes you work harder, sometimes a fix is easy, sometimes you're sweating over it. Now, what were you spraying, Mr. Nelson?
I sprayed, during the period of time that he had his vehicles in there, black paint, gray primer, white paint, gray primer, and green.
Were you supposed to be doing any spraying in the unit?
Sure. Been doing it for 14 years.
In that unit?
Yes.
And how long had your vehicles been in that unit?
From about late September, early October of 2015 until April of 2016.
So this was the first year that your cars were there?
Correct, and I was told that he was no longer spraying in his unit.
You can't tell me what you were told, sir.
Well, he was shut down by the Fargo Police Department for spraying in there and was...
Okay, but he had been doing it for 14 years.
He admits to it in writing that he was...
I'd like to see it.
That he was shut down.
No, I believe he was shut down. It doesn't mean he hadn't been doing it for 14 years.
Oh, for sure. You're right.
Yeah. Do you have any pictures where I could see actually what this gunk looks like on your car?
I have a video that you could watch, Your Honor. Might have to turn the volume up.
Overspray would only land on the upper parts because it would fall down here, but this is what normal paint feels like. Smooth. This is overspray. I mean, clearly you can feel and see the difference and hear it.
Did you buff off the overspray?
Not yet, no.
But you're going to?
Yes, well, we'd like to eventually, yes.
Mr. Nelson, you've used this storage unit for 14 years. And you've been spraying things in there for 14 years. Do you do that for a living?
Yes. I sprayed cabinets with a clear lacquer up until the spring before he came in there.
And had anyone been in the unit that he just started to rent?
Always.
And do you know what was stored in those units?
They're not so much storage, they're workshops. And what he's complaining about on his cars is a clear lacquer, which I used to spray a lot of. And I didn't spray a drop of any clear substance during that time.
You should start buffing off his cars. He's not getting $4,500 from the defendant. You have to show Mr. Larkin that somehow the defendant was negligent in what he was doing, which he had done for 14 years.
Oh, he was negligent?
You have to show somehow that he was negligent in doing what he did for me to be satisfied that he's responsible.
In that time frame, and there's nobody else in the building that sprays it.
I didn't spray any clear lacquer.
Just a second. Do you rent the shed or do you own it?
We rent.
They rent just like he rents, just like you do.
Correct, but he was shut down and told not to spray in that unit.
Before this happened?
Before this happened.
Oh.
Yes, that's the
just a second. Well,
foreign
that's
movement vehicles in there.
That's interesting.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. When did the fire department shut you down, Mr. Nelson?
May, June of 2015. But they didn't shut me down. They just said not to spray in there because of...
Just a second. If you were told not to spray in May or June of 2015... Did I get it?
You did.
Bingo.
If you were told not to spray in May or June of 2015 by the fire department, then you have a problem.
I quit spraying.
Mr. Nelson, I don't believe that. Somehow this happened. Okay.
Ma'am?
Now, Mike,
Yes.
let's you and I have a discussion.
Sure.
Doesn't cost $5,000 to take a buffer and buff out.
No, it costs
cars.
about a bit more. One motorcycle is a big, they call them baggers, and it's flat matte black. So there is no way to buff it off of that. You can't take chemicals off it. It'll ruin the finish. It'll shine it up. That's why the repaint is $2,000 on the one. And then to take the motorcycle apart is another estimate, I believe, from Pure Performance. But because the one bike has to be repainted to duplicate.
And are you going to do that?
Yes, if we get this settled, yeah.
The others can be buffed off.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Nelson, there's no question that you, in violation of what you were told by the fire department, sprayed after the time that you were told not to spray, and that's what was on his vehicles. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,600. We're finished. Thank you.
He doesn't have any green paint on his car.
Bodies are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
He's got clear paint on his cars, and I painted green paint.
Doing it too long with no ventilation, I think.
They were so dirty that I couldn't see anything.
They're my prized possessions.
So I quit spraying lacquer. I never sprayed a drop after that.
Check on your stuff a little more and see what your neighbor's up to.
Her dog didn't bite you, but it frightened you.
Panic over a dog on the loose.
He jumped the fence. He scared me. The dog would have did to my baby if I hadn't ran and grabbed her.
But the neighbor
The city told me to put the gate up properly, and I did that.
says she's barking up the wrong tree.
Who called the dog back?
Didn't anybody call the dog back. The dog was already in the gate.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Tasha Jones is suing her neighbor, Tasha Bell, for damages due to a dog attack and harassment.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 326 on the calendar in the matter of Jones versus Bell. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Jones, how long have you and Miss Bell been neighbors?
Actually, I've been staying in my house about 3 years. She wasn't living there at the time I moved in. She moved in there
How long have you been there?
Since November of 2015.
What kind of a dog do you have?
A Rhodesian Ridgeback.
How big a dog is that?
She comes to about right here.
And you have problems with this dog. That's
Yes,
what this
ma'am.
case is about. In this case, you allege that you were out in your driveway and her dog got loose. Her dog didn't bite you, but it
No.
frightened you.
Well, this is not the first time. Okay.
But it frightened you, yourself, and also your daughter.
My
was
1-year-old, yes, is not here.
So I want you to tell me, what time of the day did this happen on September 19th?
Actually, it was the 20th. On the 20th, I was outside putting some water in my truck, so they let their dog out again. Like I said, they always...
Just a minute, they have a fenced-in yard.
Right, I got pictures to show you.
They have a fenced yard.
Right, it's not properly secured. The gate has a tire holding the front of it up. So on this particular day, I'm outside putting some water in my truck, and they let the dog out. He starts barking immediately at my 1-year-old. So I keep her close to me, put some water in my truck, go back to fill my jug up again, and as I'm looking up, her dog is coming over the fence. But I have told Miss Bell on 3 or 4 more occasions to please put your dogs up. She has more than one dog, by the way.
Can I see pictures of the fence?
You want me to keep talking?
It's a pretty high fence.
It's not that high. She put those boards up there probably.
No, it's a pretty high fence. I see it in relation to the car, because there's a car here.
And I'm going to tell you, when he ran back out my yard, he went through the front. Not her daughter here, but when her other daughter, I was screaming for my life.
Just a sec. Hey, let's pay careful attention to me.
Yes, ma'am.
You told me a moment ago that the dog jumped over the fence.
Yeah, he jumped over the fence.
Now you said the dog went through the front of the fence.
When her daughter called him when I was screaming, she heard me screaming. He actually ran and went through the front of the fence to go back home.
To get back home, he went through the fence. But what you're telling me is that her dog jumped over this fence.
Right.
And it frightened you.
Frightened me and my daughter. I'm going to tell you, the reason why it frightened me, because a previous accident, her dogs jumped the fence and mauled my daughter here over 20 bites, stitches, and stuff. So I wasn't going to let that happen again. She has not complied with the leash law for her dogs. Like I said, I have called my neighbor 3 or 4 times asking...
Shh. Was this dog taken away?
Oh, we gave that dog away. Taz did that. And that dog was given away.
It was 2 dogs.
Shh. If you were...
2.
And when that happened, my fence wasn't up.
Was not up?
It wasn't. And the city told me to put the gate up properly, and I did that.
No, ma'am.
Did you have homeowner's insurance?
Yes, ma'am. And she did file a claim.
And was that claim settled?
Yes, it was.
For how much?
$100,000.
No, ma'am. It was settled for $51,000.
That's probably what she got.
Just a second. I don't want you to interrupt her again.
Okay.
Did you have a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the net amount that your daughter put in the bank?
The total amount was $51,000. When my daughter got through with the lawyer fees and everything, it was $32,000. Yes, ma'am.
But you collected that money?
Yeah, my daughter collected. It's in a trust fund for her.
Great. Actually doesn't make up for these injuries.
It doesn't. You're right.
It doesn't make up for the injuries.
My minimum was $100,000. It was a $500,000 liability policy, but they did give her the minimum of $100,000.
Do you still have it?
Through State Farm, yes, ma'am.
You still have the policy. Okay, and then
No. They canceled the policy after they paid her off.
Did you get another policy?
No.
You should have another policy. You have how many dogs?
3.
What
which
kind
is
dogs?
2 only living there now.
One is a Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Yes, and the other one is like a little German Shepherd.
How little a German Shepherd?
It's maybe 4 months, almost 4 months.
So it's a puppy?
Yes.
You should have insurance. Homeowners.
Okay.
Get it. Otherwise, she won't have to worry about you. She'll sue you and she'll own your house.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Judge, I just want to say, could have been kicked.
Just listen to me. We're not here to talk about your daughter.
Okay.
This happened a long time ago. You sued her. Your daughter was compensated for her injuries. And this dog, if I believe you, didn't bite you. You were frightened, you say, by the dog. And you fell.
No, I didn't fall. Actually, I was running with my jug in my hand. I threw my 1-year-old behind me, and I slipped and twisted my ankle. Threw my daughter behind me.
Just a second.
Head.
Just a second.
Here's the picture.
Shh, I'm speaking.
Okay.
So what you're telling me is that you were walking with your water jug.
To fill it up again, right.
Right. And you fell and
no,
you
I didn't
slipped.
fall until after I seen her dog coming charging towards my 1-year-old.
What did you fall on? How did you hurt yourself?
I didn't fall. Let's clear that up. I twisted my ankle trying to run and grab my 1-year-old and throw her behind me because I was scared that dog was going to tear my little 1-year-old apart. And I got the pictures to show it.
Show what?
Show the injuries of my daughter's head when I had to throw her behind me to protect her. Because, I mean, I don't trust my neighbor dogs. And I don't know what that dog would have did to my baby if I hadn't ran and grabbed her. And this the pictures of that we went to the emergency.
Could I see pictures of the baby, please?
And this the picture ankle with ace wrap. And my daughter, they had to take X-rays of her head.
Now I'd like to see the police report that you filed.
I don't have a police report.
Why not?
Because
I want to see your report from Animal Control that you filed.
The one I tried to pull off my email, Animal Control sent it to me, but it's something wrong with my email, and I couldn't pull it out, but they did give me both reports, and I can't pull it out of my email, and I don't know why.
On what date did you call the police?
The same day. They came out. I had a panic attack because I've been bit by a dog, and she's saying her dog's puppy.
Let me explain something to you. Doesn't do anything purposely. She was told to put up a fence. She put up a fence. It looks like a high enough fence. You say no. I say this looks like a chain link fence that could keep in a dog that she says is about 3 feet off the ground.
Yes.
3 feet off the ground. Ordinarily, this would be a reasonable fence to keep that dog in. I wouldn't think that that dog could jump over this fence. You say it did. You were home.
Yes, ma'am.
Step up next to your mom. Tell me your first name.
Tykeria Washington.
You were home on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And you heard the plaintiff outside?
Well, she was inside the house, like yelling, stating that she was going to call the police.
And where was your mom?
She was outside.
What called your attention to the plaintiff that day?
When she was screaming, like yelling at the door, stating
Yelling at what door?
At her side door. She was yelling, stating that she was going to call the police.
So she was outside?
No, she was inside. She was inside yelling, screaming.
But with the door open?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where was her baby?
I guess she was inside, too. The baby was
Had you
inside.
seen her outside before?
That day?
That day. Had you seen her outside near her truck with her baby?
Well, I didn't see, because I guess her water hydrant is behind the truck, so I didn't, like, really see, like, where she was.
How old is the Rhodesian Ridgeback, the dog?
She 1 year.
Have you ever seen her slip through the fence?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember when your mom put up the fence?
A couple weeks after the attack, she put the fence up.
And you've never seen your dog get through that fence?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever seen the dog get through that fence?
No, I never seen her jump over the fence, no.
Could you stand up? Tell me your first name.
Taylor Ross.
You see their dog in the yard frequently?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you ever see the dog scale the fence, jump over the fence?
No, ma'am.
You. Did you ever see the dog get through the fence?
No, ma'am.
I don't think this dog jumped over.
Scared me out of my mind. When the ambulance came, my blood pressure was sky high. I'm scared of dogs, regardless of how little or small they are. I actually got bit by a dog. He jumped over that fence, and when he came back, he went through that gate where they don't have secure. I'm actually the one that told her about the kids that tore her fence down. I actually was the one
I'm not talking about then. I'm talking about now that the fence is up.
No, she told you that the fence got put up after my daughter got bit.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's been up and it's been in that condition. It actually hangs. That's what I'm going to tell you. The dog got over that fence that day. And her daughter, her oldest daughter, is the one that seen him in my face barking. Only thing that kept that dog from biting me and my 1-year-old was I had that jug in my hand. When her oldest daughter called that dog back.
What's your older daughter's name?
My oldest daughter's name is Tatiana Washington, and it was 2 daughters and my son that was out there. It was this one and it was Jalea. Jalea's only 13 years old. She was out there, and Jeremy, he's 21. He was out there, and myself.
On that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Who called the dog back?
Didn't anybody call the dog back. The dog was already in the gate.
Okay. Now I'll see your medical reports.
Mr. Bill's gonna be on top.
None of these reports has a write-up?
What you mean write-up?
A write-up of what you told the emergency room doctor.
It's on there, the head contusion for my daughter.
Just a
and
second.
the sprain for me.
Just a second. You have any other medical reports?
No, ma'am. That's all I have.
I find it hard to believe that a dog jumped over this fence.
He
actually.
did, Your Honor. I can promise you that.
And the dog didn't bite you?
No, thank God he didn't bite me or my 1-year-old, because I threw her behind me. That's how she got that on me, because I grabbed her, and that's how they took the x-rays of her arm, because when we got to the emergency room, she didn't want to lift her arm, so they took an x-ray. I had to literally throw my daughter behind me, and I got a brick house, and wasn't no one out there when this happened, and that's the truth. Only person came to my rescue was her oldest daughter. I was hollering at the top of my lungs, somebody help, help. Nobody was out there.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm asking you the question. I'm prepared to make the call.
Right.
Which daughter was it?
It was the daughter that drives.
All of them drive.
I drive.
She's the daughter that I had to call the police on. Her daughter came to my yard trying to fight me, by the way.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tasha Jones says Tasha Bell owes for damages from a dog attack and harassment.
Now, where's your older daughter?
She probably at work. My oldest daughter works 3 jobs. That's when I know she wasn't the one she's talking
Just a second.
about.
That's who she says was there.
But I have a phone number.
Give me her cell number.
It's 812-82, and her name is Tatiana Washington.
Your Honor, that's not the name she called when the police came out. She called her Kayla.
Jalea. She's 13.
Just a second.
That's not the one. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm asking you the question. I'm prepared to make the call.
Right.
Which daughter was it?
It was the daughter that drives.
All of them drive.
I drive.
All of them drive. I have 4 daughters that drive.
That got the white car. She's the daughter that I had to call the police on. Her daughter came to my yard trying to fight me, by the way.
No.
The police came out.
All I'm asking is the person that I'm calling Tatiana?
I don't know her real name. I never got
Tatiana does have a white car. She does have a white car. But I'm telling you, she wasn't the one that was there.
I'm talking about the daughter that I'm
Julia.
talking about.
Listen, I find it hard to believe that this dog jumped over the fence. I think that the dog might have jumped at the fence and you got scared and grabbed your dog is enough to make you nervous. I don't think that dog can get over this fence. You telling me that there was a child there of hers that called the dog back. I'm prepared to call that child.
I don't know if you're calling the right one or not.
What?
I don't know if you're calling the right daughter.
Because I have 6 daughters. Tatiana is the oldest.
Can't help.
And, Your Honor, I'm going to tell you, she has been harassing me from no end. I pull up and my daughter tell you, she started pointing at me. You already sued me once. You're not going to sue me again. Then the second time, her daughter, the one I'm talking about that witnessed this, came in my yard and asked me, do you got a problem? I said, no, I have a problem. I'm just going to call your mom. So I called Miss Bell. She came over. We talked like adults. And I told her, I said, Miss Bell, I'm going to call the police because I'm pregnant. I don't need your daughter. I don't need them coming over trying to fight me and my kids because of their dogs. And I have all right to protect my kids from her animals.
You absolutely do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Talicia said the reason she asked her if she had a problem because she had been mean mugging her when she was outside that whole day.
Where is Celicia?
She's at the house. Her number is 662-23.
Real people. Judge Judy.
Tasha Jones says neighbor Tasha Bell is responsible for damages from a dog attack.
I have to believe that the dog jumped over this fence.
But can I speak? I'm going to tell you the reason I know she don't know my kids. The daughter that she's talking about, that she called the police on her saying that she's asked her, do you have a problem? Her name is Talicia Washington. She's 15. She got the wrong daughter.
Is that the person who called the dog in?
And it's the person that I had to call the police.
So that's Talicia Washington.
Yes.
And Talicia said the reason she asked her if she had a problem because she had been mean mugging her when she was outside that whole day. And she asked her if she...
Where is Celicia?
She's at the house. Her number is 662. She don't even know who she's speaking to. Lying self, harassing her.
Is this Celicia? This is Judge Judy. How are you today? Good, thank you. I got your number from your mom, and I have a couple of questions for you, okay? Do you remember September 20th and that incident involving your dog? Were you outside when the dog jumped the fence? Did you call the dog? What's the dog's name, by the way? Did you call the dog back into your yard? You did not. Tell me what you saw. The dog was in the gate. You didn't call the dog in the gate. Did you hear your neighbor screaming? Did you hear the dog barking? Okay. Celicia, thanks very much. Bye-bye now.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Never outside the gate. I have two things that I have to consider. One of the things that I have to consider is whether I actually can visualize this dog jumping over the gate. Quite frankly, I cannot. Celicia says the dog was always inside the gate. Then I have to figure out whether or not the defendant was negligent. Clearly she was not, because she built a fence pursuant to what she was told she had to do. She built a chain link fence that looks, to my eyes, sufficiently high to restrain a medium-sized dog. So I don't think that I can ascribe any negligence to her. Your daughter has said she's never seen the dog outside the fence or crawl through the fence. So I don't know what happened that day, and it may have been that the dog went charging towards the fence and you got frightened. But I'm not satisfied that I can ascribe any negligence to the defendant. Your case is dismissed. We're finished.
Your Honor, please.
We're finished.
Judge Judy, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
She need money. Not working and need money and wanting to come back for more. She sued me before.
It was a lot of lies told in the courtroom.
I offered to pay her medical bills, but once I received a call from her lawyer.
My daughter got bit and over 20 bites on her body. She definitely has dangerous dogs. I have nothing else to say to my neighbor. It's clearly that.
No, it doesn't. You know, the truth will set you free.
She's a liar and she can't be trusted.
I'm glad that justice was served today.
You run some sort of a kids event.
I paid Mr. DeLeon for the photography and video.
The cameraman came cheap.
How much did you pay him?
$500.
He discounted you $700. You got a bargain.
But she says his product wasn't picture perfect.
You're unhappy with the quality of the pictures and the quality of the video.
Very dark, a lot of movement, blurry.
Don't use them again.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Kimberly Williams is suing photographer Capone de Leon for providing substandard services.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 275 on the calendar in the matter of Williams versus De Leon. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat. You're welcome, Judge.
Ms. Williams, you run some sort of a kids event, a beauty
a debutante program and ball.
What does that mean?
So what it entails basically is we work with high school girls and providing them with academic workshops. We work with them, teaching them etiquette, offer scholarships, that sort of thing.
Are you a for-profit organization?
No, ma'am, we're a nonprofit 501c3.
Who funds you?
I am pretty much funded by way of getting the funds from the registration fees and fundraisers.
Just a second. Registration fees from the girls?
Yes, ma'am.
How much does each girl pay?
They paid last year was $400.
$400 per girl?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
The program is throughout the school year. We start at the beginning of the school year, we end
at the end of the school year.
How many girls did you have enrolled last year?
We had 4 last year.
And at the end of the year, you have some sort of an event?
Yes, ma'am. We actually host a ball for the girls, which is where they're presented.
And you hired the defendant to photograph it?
And to do video.
How much did you pay him?
$500.
And you want your money back because you claim that he didn't do a good job?
Yes, ma'am. The pictures, which I could show you copies of the pictures, they were taken with a green background, but we purchased a Winter Wonderland background, which was not provided in the final production of the pictures.
Who purchased the Winter Wonderland
I
background?
paid Mr. DeLeon for the photography and video.
No, the
service.
Winter Wonderland. Just a second. Who did you purchase it from?
Mr. DeLeon.
So he was supposed to use a Winter Wonderland background when he did the still photography?
Yes, ma'am. That was supposed to be the final production.
I don't know what that means.
The product that he would send to me at the end of the production should have been on that backdrop. And instead,
well, you have to use it. Don't you have to photograph it on that background?
No, ma'am. He was supposed to edit it and add the pictures to that background.
Let me see what the pictures you are complaining about look like. He did come and do the event. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. He did the actual event.
And when you hired him and gave him the $1,500...
$500.
Well, $500. Did you tell him that he would be able to make extra money from the girls buying their photographs?
Yes, ma'am. That was
Just a second. Did you tell him that is my question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, so this is clearly against a green backdrop.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you supposed to provide a different backdrop?
We were originally going to get a backdrop purchased off Amazon. Where they were coming from was China, and the deposit wasn't made till really close to the event, so we weren't able to do that. What I told her is I'd be able to do the backdrop on the green screen and then switch it out in editing.
Did you do that?
I wasn't able to. She told me to stop putting it online. So my process,
what do you mean,
my process is we take the pictures, we edit it. Originally, those pictures that you're looking at have been edited through Lightroom. Don't look as good as they do right there. We edit it through Lightroom, bring out the colors and everything like that. And then the second process would be to put it online where the backdrops would be, where they can order it. She didn't want any ordering to be done online, and so we weren't able to do that.
But you can put it on a different background
absolutely.
other than this green. I mean, the green isn't terrible, but you can put it on.
Correct.
Okay, fine. Good. And there were 4 girls.
Yes, ma'am.
So he took still pictures.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did he take a video?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you
and
have
there's
it?
also clips of the...
I'd like to see it.
Video clips. This particular video is one of the dances with the debutantes alone at the ball. And the 4 girls. And as you can see, the lighting's not very well. It's very dark, a lot of movement, blurry. And then this is a different video clip.
Just a second, I'm looking. I don't need somebody to tell me what I'm looking at. Do the girls provide their own dresses?
Yes, ma'am.
And everybody's taking their own pictures?
There are some people that are taking photos, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you got pictures?
Yes, ma'am.
And you got a video?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're unhappy?
That would be correct, and I'm also unhappy with the fact that I did not get the backdrop that I paid for, because the pictures that you see there were supposed to be for purchase for the parents if they wanted to purchase packages of the event, that they would be able to do so, but with that green background, it doesn't provide us what we were looking for professionally.
Don't use them again.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't use them again. He says that he could put it on a different background. You told him not to put it up so that people could order it. You told him to stop putting it up. Did you tell him to stop putting it up?
He never explained to me that that's how his program worked, that he would have to post it online first before he can change the background. That never came up. He told me he would be able to put it on the backdrop that I paid for, and that he would have packages available the night of the production so that they could actually, after the event was over, go to him and make purchases there on the spot. That never happened because he did not change the background. So it was never a discussion about putting it online first.
When did you give him the $500? On what date?
I gave him $200 deposit.
On what date?
June 10th. It looks like the $200 deposit, June 10th.
When was the event?
June 26th.
6/26?
Yes, ma'am. 6/26.
16 days later?
Yes, ma'am. But I have been speaking with him since March.
I don't care whether you've been speaking to him. You gave him a deposit June 10th.
But I
Miss Williams, I would suggest, you still running this 501c3 that you charge for? Yeah. I suggest that next time you have a contract in writing about everything that you want. Right now, you hired somebody for $500 who spent the evening taking video and taking still pictures of the 4 girls. And it certainly looks to me as if this is a small event. Is this the smallest class you've ever had?
Yes, ma'am, and there is a contract.
I'd like to see it.
Starts here, the very bottom starts there, and then it flips over.
Well, first of all, this thing is unsigned. Second of all, it says photography contract. There is nothing here about a backdrop, and there's nothing here about pictures will be available on the date of the event.
I have that also in text messages as well.
First of all, this contract isn't signed, but if this is your piece, if this is you, where is it signed?
I have the signed.
It's electronic, yes.
I just want to make sure it's the same one.
I created it with Google Forms, so it is an online.
Okay. It says photography able to purchase prints for themselves, packages to be provided. This cost is for the setup, $100. Event photography, photographic documentation of the entire event, and this covers raw footage only, $200. Video recording and documentation of the entire event, raw footage only, $300. Event photography, images captured in the event, which will include hundreds of images covered on the disc, $200. And event video editing, this covers the editing of all video footage into one final production featuring the event delivered on DVD, $400. That came to $1,200, which he discounted you $700, which leaves the grand total of $500. You got a bargain.
Yes, ma'am, and that was the price that we actually agreed upon.
Good, and that's what you got. You got pictures and you got a video. We're done. You're not satisfied? Don't use them again. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He did not produce the quality of the product that he said he would.
I think it was very accurate. She wanted more than she was paying for.
We'll be very particular in terms of how we select those who support us.
I know not to do favors for friends anymore.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Strickland versus Nietzsche, step forward.
Angela Nietzsche for the return or value of 2 vehicles, late fees, and punitive damages.
Well, there are a lot of pieces to this case, Mr. Strickland, so I have to make it very, very simple because that's what I do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
The vehicle was purchased in my name only?
Listen to me. I'm not dealing with it. The car's in her name. She's got a new title, and it's registered to her. I believe her. I don't believe you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Walter Strickland says ex-girlfriend Angela Nietzsche owes for 2 vehicles, late fees, and punitive damages. Angela is countersuing for unpaid services and repair costs for a van.
Now, Miss Nietzsche was your girlfriend many years ago, and then you remained friends after you were no longer dating. There came a time when you had some health issues.
Yes.
And you hired Miss Nietzsche to do lots of little things for you. Among those things was taking care of your books, paying your bills. Is that correct?
Yes, but that's not when I hired her.
When did you hire her?
I hired her in 2010 when I was over the road weeks.
At some point, according to you, you let her use a car.
My pickup truck, yes.
Where is that truck now?
At the hotel.
Who's driving it?
I do.
Okay, so you have that truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about these other 2 cars that you allege she's holding hostage in some way.
She was driving my pickup truck and informed me.
Give me a year.
In 2015, excuse me, she was driving, she borrowed the pickup truck because her car was on the last legs. And after driving it for a few weeks, she determined that she couldn't lock anything up in it because of her business and her shows that she would go to, so she needed a car that she could lock up.
And?
At that time is when she told me she needed to borrow some money to purchase a car that she could lock up. She found a car online and asked me to go down and pick it up.
So you did?
Went down, it was not there. It had already been sold.
Okay, and then?
There was a PT Cruiser sitting there that with low mileage, and she said it sounded good to her, so.
What did you do, call her?
Yes, I did.
And said?
The other vehicle that she had wanted me to pick up had already been sold. That I'm sitting here looking at a PT Cruiser with 69,000 miles on it, 2004. She said, well, drive it and see if you think it's worth it. I said, okay. So I drove it. Seemed great.
Whose name?
Mine.
And where was she when you were purchasing this truck?
She was up in Apple Valley working.
In what vehicle?
In my brown pickup, a 93 F-150.
Okay, and that was in 2015. Do you remember what month in 2015?
February.
So the beginning of the year.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the car still in your name?
Yes, it is, as far as I know.
Is the car in his name?
No.
How did that happen?
He purchased the car. He called me and asked me, hey, I found this PT Cruiser. Look it up. It's at this. So I looked it up. I actually printed it off. And I said, I have no money. And I have no money. So there's no way I can pay for it. He says, well, you do a lot for me. You've helped me out so much. I'll help you out. So that was February 20th. I was in Pinion Hills, Phelan, working out of my office at my mother's house when he had called me. And I had clients all afternoon, so I was not in Apple Valley. So he brought it up, and as soon as I was done with my last client, we sat down. He signed me over a bill of sale, and I said, do you want to put yourself as a lien holder if something happens to me? And he said, no, it's your car. And I said, okay.
How much was it?
$4,500 and change.
Can I see the bill of sale? Well, Mr. Strickland, this certainly looks like your signature, sir, on February 20th. You want to take a look at this? I've compared it with the signature on the affidavit that you signed.
Registered owner. I'm supposed to be the legal owner.
It's a bill of sale that you sold it to her.
A year later, it's still in my name, Your Honor.
Did you ever register it in his name?
I did. When the dealership finished the paperwork, they put it as Walter Strickland and Angela Strickland. They messed up my last name. And then after the battle started in February, or the attitude started in February, I just went ahead in March and went and got it registered right.
So you got it registered right?
Yes.
Perfect. That's what you're supposed to do. You can return that to him.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
The vehicle was purchased in my name only. She picked up the phone while I was on the way home and called the people and told them to put her name on it, and they did. They put Angela on it, Strickland.
Listen to me. I'm not dealing with it. The car's in her name. She's got a new title, and it's registered to her. I believe her. I don't believe you. Now we're going to get on to the next car. Do you understand?
Sure.
Good.
Judge.
Your panties in a twist. I'm not sure what it is, but so far I have 2 frivolous causes of action by you. When somebody presents me with 2 frivolous causes of action, I'm not interested in the 3rd.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Walter Strickland says ex-girlfriend Angela Nietzsche owes for 2 vehicles, late fees, and punitive damages. Angela is countersuing for unpaid services and repair costs for a van.
Now, the next car is a car that she took in that belongs to you to a mechanic.
Yes.
When did she take that car into a mechanic? Sounds like she did a lot of work for you. Month and year.
September 25th, 2014.
September 25th, 2014?
Yes, I have the AAA tow letter.
Just a second. May I see that, please? So this car is sitting in a mechanic's shop for 2 years. I assume it is no longer properly registered nor insured. Is that correct, Mr. Strickland?
Non-opt.
Non-opt, you mean non-operable?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's neither registered nor insured?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, okay. Do you want this car?
Yes, I do.
Then you should go get it.
Well, ma'am, in 2000...
It's in your name. It's been 2 weeks to get your car.
She towed her on her own self. When her son wrecked my brown pickup, I turned around and told her, stop me doing anything on it. I can't afford to do anything right now. I had to pay to have the pickup fixed.
Listen to me, Mr. Strickland. Something got your panties in a twist. I'm not sure what it is, and I don't really care. But so far, I have 2 frivolous causes of action by you. I'm going to tell you for 2 vehicles. I'm going to tell you why. This one's frivolous because after this one, according to you, this is 2014, in 2015, you went and bought her a car. So if you were annoyed about this, why in the world would you go buy her a car? I don't know, and I don't care.
Ma'am, it was not towed in 2014. It was taken down there after I bought the PT Cruiser.
Date of service, September 25th, 2014. The American Auto Club of Southern California towed it there.
Is it says a van?
Well, you tell me what kind of car you want back. The car that's in her name, you're not getting back. Now we're on the second car. What year and model is that car?
An EF-150, 1989.
On the money.
Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I'm not getting involved with the fact that you didn't give the passwords for your account and you had aggravation. That's a too soft issue for me, and I can't figure out what the level of your aggravation was.
Well, when
but
my pickup got wrecked.
But just a second, I'm speaking now. When somebody presents me with two frivolous causes of action, Mr. Strickland, I'm not interested in the third. Now I'm on the counterclaim. Listen to me carefully. You're suing him for $4,200 for unpaid services and repair of the van. And you stretched that out as much as you could to $4,200, right?
Yeah, I went back.
Right? And he bought you a $4,500 car, right? We're done here. You got it?
I didn't have a problem with that.
Perfect. We're done.
Okay, can I get reimbursement back for the van?
Do you understand what I just said to you?
Oh.
You have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is for $4,200 for a whole variety of things, including money that you allegedly paid to repair his 1989 F-150 together. As much as you could put into your counterclaim came to $4,200, and he bought you a $4,500 car.
Right.
Do you understand?
I understand.
We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Her son wrecked my truck.
He borrowed it with Walt's permission, and it broke down.
She was writing checks, taking care of 6 bills a month.
For 12 years, I've taken care of Walt.
In the end, she just quit paying them.
I'm just done.
Can't trust anybody.
It's just time for me to move on.
I had asked, is the puppy healthy?
A new dog's dire diagnosis.
I said, look, the puppy is deathly ill.
It had parvo, it had worms.
He was asking me for a lot of money, $1,700 in vet bills.
But did this seller
She knew that she sold me a bad puppy.
take avoidance to another level?
She tried to get out of this by faking her own death and faking her children's death.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Steve Leitner is her puppy and vet bills.
Order. All rise. This case number 320 on the calendar in the matter of Leitner versus Pawn Shop.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Leitner, you purchased a pet from the defendant?
Correct.
A puppy? You saw an ad someplace? Where did you see the ad?
On Craigslist.
How much was she selling the puppy for?
She was wanting $400, but if I purchased the puppy that day, she would take $300.
Did you ask her why?
I did not.
Why not?
I was wanting to save $100, Your Honor.
Did you ask her where the puppy came from?
She had explained to me that she purchased it from her friend who was a breeder.
Okay. Did she tell you when?
At 6 weeks, when the puppy was 6 weeks.
On what date did you purchase the puppy?
October 1st. It was a Saturday night.
Did she tell you why she was getting rid of the puppy?
No.
And you weren't curious?
Well, at one point, she did say that her other dog did not get along with it, but I don't know if that was her reason or not. The puppy had a bite mark on it, or an injury on it.
How old was the puppy when you bought it?
9 weeks.
So she had had the puppy for 3 weeks?
Correct.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor.
How long had you had the puppy?
I had the puppy for a week.
Did you tell him
It was 8 weeks at the time, Your Honor, that I had
weeks.
bought her, and 9 weeks when he bought her.
Do you have the person who bred the puppy?
I do not.
Who is this?
This is my friend.
What is she doing here?
She's been around the puppy with her dog, and her dog was not sick at all, and parvo is very contagious.
Why were you selling the dog?
Because my 4-year-old boxer did not take well with her. She kept nipping at her, and I just felt like it wasn't a good situation.
Okay, your lawsuit is that the puppy, within a couple of days, got sick, took the puppy to the vet. It had parvovirus, and it had worms.
Yes.
And so you want your money back, and you want all the vet bills paid?
Yes.
Show me the contract where she gives you a health guarantee.
What I have is a text message from her that states that I had asked her, is the puppy healthy? She asked me if I had any questions. I had asked, is the puppy healthy? I asked for the cost.
Just a second. Is the puppy healthy? She said yes.
Yes.
And you met her on a Saturday night?
Correct.
And that was on October 1st?
Yes.
And you took the puppy home?
Yes.
On Saturday night?
Yes.
I assume that when you met her on Saturday night, which all of this was not smart in hindsight, right? You let the puppy run around to see if you liked it.
We met at a Walgreens.
You let the puppy walk around?
Yes.
For how long?
A few minutes. Again, we mostly held it.
And then you brought it home?
Correct.
On what date did you take it to the vet?
It was Wednesday, that following Wednesday.
So you had the dog with you Sunday?
Sunday, Monday.
Just a second. You had the dog on Sunday?
Yes.
I assume that if you have a new puppy and if the new puppy doesn't appear to be okay, then you take the puppy right to the vet. That's what I would do. Did you contact her on Sunday?
She contacted me.
On Sunday?
Yes.
And said?
Asked me how the puppy was.
And what did you say?
I said she did fine. She told me she had kept her in a cage at night, so I did too. The puppy cried. We let her out and put her in bed with us. She slept fine that night.
Of course. So you said she was fine?
Yes.
That was on Sunday?
Well, yes.
Just a second.
Well, Sunday she did start to, she was showing signs.
Sunday?
Correct.
Right now she's in a different environment.
Exactly.
And she wasn't used to your business.
Right.
But she slept with you on Sunday. When did you call the defendant next?
I believe it was Monday. I wanted more information from her.
What did you ask her?
She had told me that she had had her first set of shots and been dewormed.
Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And where was that?
I did not know where the vet was. I had assumed that it was at my breeder friend's, but after with the Tractor Supply.
Did you give him the name of the breeder?
I did not.
Did he ask for it?
No, Your Honor.
And you finally took the puppy to the vet on Wednesday, so you've had the puppy Saturday night, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesdays. 3 days.
Yes.
Okay. And I assume that if the puppy appeared to be in extreme, you look like a nice man, your wife looks like a nice lady. You see, what you're going to have to demonstrate to me, Mr. Leitner, is as follows. She had this puppy a very short time.
Not what she told me.
She had this puppy a very short time because the puppy was a young puppy. Whether she had the puppy a week or 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. That's a very short time.
Okay.
And you don't have a written contract from a breeder or from the person that you're buying it from that says, I will guarantee the puppy's health for 30 days, 60 days, you can get your money back, whatever it is. That's what you get usually when you buy a puppy from a breeder or from another outlet that breeds dogs as a business. You were buying a dog from a private person under what I consider sort of suspicious circumstances. Meeting Saturday night, she's getting rid of the dog, you don't know why, you saw the dog was a little bit injured, it sort of was consistent with her dog didn't get along with it. You have to demonstrate to me that there was an implied warranty that this dog, or guarantee that this dog was healthy, and if it was not, she would take the dog back and you would get a refund within a period. Next day, the dog has had, these are the dog shots. You get a piece of paper that says this is when the dog was dewormed, this is when the dog had its first shot, second shot. You had another dog.
Yes.
So you know that. You know that. You didn't get anything like that from her.
And on that note, Your Honor, every dog I've purchased has been from a private owner, and I've never had any issues. Things have always worked out. It was going by my history with purchasing puppies.
How many dogs
I did nothing different.
How many dogs do you have?
Now, one, the puppy.
Just this one?
Yes.
And you don't want her to take this puppy back?
Not now, no, Your Honor. I did it at the point when we found out the dog was deathly ill.
Just a second. Did you call and tell her?
Yes.
And did you say, I want to bring it back?
Yes.
And what did she say?
That's when the communication stopped.
Stopped. Because she had not given you a guarantee or a warranty.
I have a witness that will state that she heard her tell us if the puppy is healthy. I have a text that also states that she says that the puppy is healthy. She told us when we purchased it, the puppy is healthy, and she told us if you're not happy with it, I'll take the puppy back and give you your money.
Did you say that to them?
No, Your Honor. I said if they gave me a couple days, I would help find it a good home.
That's not correct.
Why would you say if they gave me a couple of days? I don't understand.
Because I couldn't find a good home right when they would want it if they wanted to return it.
No, if it was sick. That sounds ridiculous. That doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. Now I'm going to ask you one more time. When he called you and said to you, the puppy is sick, what did you say?
Your Honor, he did not call me. He sent me a text message, and I did not respond.
Why?
Because at that point, I didn't know what to do. He was asking me for a lot of money.
What was he asking you for?
For $1,700 in vet bills.
Oh, no, you can't ask her for the vet bills.
That's not what I asked. I had asked, I believe it says in the text message, I'm at the vet, the puppy is deathly sick, needs immediate treatment. It's going to cost me $600 and something was their estimate for that treatment then, and then I needed to take her to a 24-hour emergency care facility, and that would be $1,000 a day, most likely. So that's when I text her.
You expected her to deal with that? It wasn't her problem.
I said, look, the puppy is deathly ill. It's very, very bad news. You told me that if I wasn't happy, I could return the puppy. I said, I need my money back to continue care on this. Please give me my money back. And I was ready to give up the puppy. And that's when she went as far as to hide the evidence that the puppy was sick by ignoring my calls.
No. You didn't know the puppy was sick on Saturday night, on Sunday,
I started
on
suspecting.
Monday.
I started suspecting.
Well, maybe she didn't sort of
saw the
suspect. Maybe
evidence
you're
that the
smarter
puppy
than
was
she is. Maybe you're smarter than she is.
And later today,
If you don't get along with him anymore, that's your business. If he doesn't get along with you, that's his business. But the two of you made a child together, and the child has two parents. And both parents are entitled to be in that child's life.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Steve Leitner says Brandy Pawnshot sold him a sick boxer puppy.
Now, I'm not comfortable that when you saw this puppy in the Walgreens parking lot and let it run around and then kept it in your bed and let it sleep with you and then had it the entire day the next day. You didn't take the puppy to the vet on Sunday. You didn't take the puppy to the vet on Monday. So for you...
The vet had asked me when she had her first shots. They wanted to know that.
Just listen to what I'm saying to you. You're not hearing what I'm saying to you.
That's why I didn't take her earlier.
You're not listening to what I'm saying
to
you, sir.
I'm sorry.
You have to satisfy me to even consider this case that she knew the puppy was sick. And if you didn't know the puppy was sick on Saturday night, on Sunday, maybe she didn't sort of suspect. Maybe you're smarter than she is. But certainly, you look like a nice man, Mr. Leitner. So if you knew that the puppy was sick on Monday and you bought it under these circumstances, you would have taken it to the vet Mondays.
The only thing I saw from the puppy was a lack of energy and a lack of appetite.
She didn't give the dog a pill on Saturday night to make it happy and jovial and running around Saturday night, Sunday. You have to show that because you don't have a written guarantee of a puppy.
Correct.
The only sympathy I would have for you is if she masked somehow symptoms of a sick puppy and knowingly sold you a sick puppy. And you don't have any evidence of that.
Evidence that she tried to get out of this or contacting me by faking her own death and faking her children's death. She knew that she sold me a bad puppy because she did not want to pay me back or give me my money back.
You're absolutely right.
She went to extreme circumstances.
You're still not following me, sir. She doesn't have $2,000 to give you for vet bills that you expended for this puppy. You have to prove to me, in order for me to have any sympathy whatsoever with your position, sold you a sick puppy. If the puppy showed no symptoms to you when you bought it, how am I supposed to ascribe the fact that the puppy was sick while in her custody?
Based on the vet reports in here, she was underweight, she was skeletal.
That's something you should have seen. You go to pick up a puppy, and if a puppy, and you said, I bought many dogs. That's what you told me before. I bought many dogs, many puppies, and I always bought them this way. That's what you told me.
Yes.
Well, if the dog was skeletal, then you would have seen that on Saturday.
I've got
and you
pictures
would have
showing
seen
what
it
she looked like.
you would have seen it on Sunday.
I've got pictures.
Your case is dismissed, Mr. Leitner. You had no case against her. We're done.
Oh, is excuse me. Step out.
I truly believe she knew she sold me a sick puppy.
I think she made a fair decision.
She sold it to me to cut her losses.
I did not. I love dogs. I wouldn't have gotten rid of her.
I love the puppy.
I'm just glad the puppy was okay.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Benson versus Baldinelli. Step forward.
Raymond Benson is suing his ex-fiancée, Vanessa Baldinelli, for unpaid credit card charges and the return of a tablet and a wedding ring set.
The defendant, please. Mr. Benson, this is your former fiancée. It is your claim that she has some rings that belong to you, engagement rings that belong to you, which she is prepared to return. Because I read your answer. Your answer said the engagement's over, he can have the rings back. So there are his rings. Would you give them to Mr. Benson? You also claim that the defendant owes you for some credit card bills. You let her use a credit card of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
What credit card?
My MasterCard, Capital One.
Did you give her own card?
No.
So you only had one card?
Only had one card.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you giving her that card.
One time she went down to Stockton to see her sister, and she took the credit card with her, and she made some purchases.
When?
Back in March of 2015.
Forget it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It is inappropriate for one parent to deprive another parent and to deprive a child of the input of a second parent because they don't get along anymore. Your son has a right to have the input of both parents, and you picked him.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Raymond Benson says ex-fiancée Vanessa Baldinelli owes for credit card charges and a wedding ring set, dining room table.
Now, when was the engagement over?
The engagement was over when she left August 28th.
Of this year?
Of this year, 2016.
I'm not interested in March of 2015. What's next?
I have court papers right here I was hoping you can help me with, because I've not seen my son since September 25th.
I can't help you with that. Did you file for visitation?
Your Honor, yes, I have. But she's been ducking me. I have not seen her.
You mean she hasn't been served?
She has not been served because I've been trying to get her served at her job, but she has not been working there. I've been looking for her.
All I can do
and
is
I cannot find her. She has the.
Shh. I'm going to tell her something. I don't have the jurisdiction to order visitation. Do you understand?
Yes.
All I can do is tell you this. You have a son together? Mm-hmm. Do you have a son together?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
How old is that child?
10 months.
You left in August?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Do you work? Did you work?
Yes, I was working.
Did you work?
Yes.
Did Mr. Benson work?
Yes.
Did you work the same hours?
No.
When you worked, who took care of the baby?
I only worked on Saturday. At the time, him.
Eventually, he's going to have visitation with his son. And a judge will order that he have visitation with his son. And when it was convenient for you, when you wanted to work, you found nothing inappropriate about with his father to take care of. So eventually, Mr. Benson is going to be smart enough to either retain a lawyer or himself say that to the judge. Till she left, she worked on Saturdays, and I took care of my son. She left me in charge of my son. So it's going to be a very hard uphill battle for you to say he can't see him now because now he's dangerous, now that it's no longer convenient for you. If you don't get along with him anymore, that's your business. If he doesn't get along with you, that's his business. But the two of you made a child together, and a child has two parents. And both parents are entitled to be in that child's life. And it is inappropriate for one parent to deprive another parent. Put your hand down. To deprive another parent and to deprive a child of the input of a second parent because they don't get along anymore. And whether it was an acrimonious departure or whether it was a happy departure is not relevant. Not relevant. Your son has a right to have the input of both parents, and you picked him. Okay. Now, that's as much as I can do to help you. Now, what you have to do is to get her served. Hire a process server and get her served.
It's hard when you're dealing with someone that's a liar and a manipulator, okay?
Listen to
the last time I saw my son was August 25th. Okay?
Mr.
She
Benson,
lied
you're not...
when I did not abuse him at all, Your Honor. And this is why I haven't seen my son.
Mister,
Okay, I've been under emotionally distress.
Sure.
I'm going to throw you both out. You're not listening to me. I told you I have no jurisdiction with regard to granting you an order of visitation.
I understand.
I've told her what I thought as someone who sat in the family court and worked in the family court for a quarter of a century. And if you get a judge who has appropriate experience, the judge is going to tell you the exact same thing that I did, that you're not supposed to be manipulative with regard to a child that the two of you made together. It was your choice to make a child with him. That's all we're going to talk about with regard to visitation.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you got your rings back. I'm not interested in the 2015 credit card bill. Now, all we have is a tablet. I don't know what kind of tablet you're talking about.
It's an LG tablet that she stole from me when she came and got her belongings.
I didn't steal it.
Okay. Is that his tablet?
Yes.
Okay. Bird, would you take that tablet, please?
Oh, okay. Yes.
And turn it over to the plaintiff. Now, do you claim you left in his house that you want back?
My dining room table.
Do you have a dining room table?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. What else?
That's it. Some mirrors on the wall.
When are you going to make arrangements to pick up the dining room table?
As soon as possible. As soon as
You have 5 days from today's date. Bring an escort with you.
Okay.
But I need to be present. I don't want her to have to be home.
Oh, absolutely. She has to give you notice, and she should probably get a police standby order when she removes it.
Yes.
And she has to be there to remove it, to identify it, so it's done.
All right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
We're good. Thank you. We're done.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I think that she made a good decision.
Justice was served, and I just want to say thank you, Judge Judy.
It was a violent situation, and I left with me and my son.
I'm not violent. I'm not an abuser.
I hope that he could disappear, but that's not going to happen, so I don't want to have anything to do with them.
Just co-parent his parents and raise his child, because he needs both of his parents.
What did you take for $5,400 for?
It had came up that he was looking for a truck.
This buyer found nothing but trouble.
You didn't buy him the truck, and you used some of the money.
Yes.
You were furious.
Only one.
Who was this?
Another victim.
Did you buy a car from him?
Yeah, he used the same story with me.
Why don't they just arrest him for fraud?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Charles Griffith is suing his neighbors, Scott and Deborah Fitzgerald, for scamming him on the sale of a truck.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 205 on the calendar in the matter of Griffith versus Fitzgerald.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Mr. Griffiths, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a carpenter, ma'am.
Do you work for yourself or for someone else?
I work for myself for 38 years.
Work out of your home, or do you have a place of business?
I work out of other people's homes.
So they call you when you do jobs for them
Yes,
their home. You don't have a place.
I have a small place, a small area at my home that I do small work.
Who do you live with?
With my wife and my dog.
Does your wife work?
Not at the present.
Had she worked?
She has.
What kind of work does she do?
Dental assistant.
The defendant, Mr. Fitzgerald, is a neighbor of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you known him?
About 6 months.
How long have you lived in your home?
4 years.
So they...
I rent.
And do you own your home or do you rent?
Rent.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm disabled right now.
From what?
Driving tow trucks.
When were you last employed on a full-time basis?
About a year ago, I believe. Maybe a little longer.
What does your wife do?
A debt collector, bill collector.
Do you do side work, getting people cars?
No.
Did you ever?
Yes.
When?
About 2 years ago.
How long did you do it for?
A couple months.
How much money did you take from Mr. Griffin?
I took $5,400.
When did you take $5,400 from him? I don't want you to speak at all. Do you understand? When I ask you a question, you'll speak. When did you take $5,400 from him?
5 weeks from August 9th, 2016.
So mid-September.
Yes.
What did you take the $5,400 for?
He was asking me if I could get a truck possibly for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I would see what I can do.
Is there any particular reason he would ask you to get a truck for him?
We were talking about it. It had came up that he was looking for a truck.
And?
I said I would try to look for one for you.
Why would he want you to look for a truck for him?
Because I told him that some of the tow yards have tow trucks, or have trucks, I'm sorry.
And what special arrangement do you have a license to go to those auctions?
You don't need a license to go. It's open to the public.
So why can't he go? Because you were going to get a fee for that.
A fee?
A fee, money. I mean, what were you doing it for? Just because he's your friend?
I was helping him out, trying.
You're going to have to explain that to me further. I thought you didn't do that for a couple of years.
I hadn't.
And he gave you $5,400. Did he give it to you in check or cash?
Cash.
Did he give it to you all at one time?
No.
He gave it to you in payments?
2.
What were the amounts of the payments?
$3,800 and $1,200.
How far apart were the two payments?
I don't think too long. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe 2 weeks. I'm not 100% sure.
Did you ever find him a truck?
No.
So then he came looking for his money, I assume.
We were talking about it for a while, and then he had wanted to do, it was a loan, so I had till Thanksgiving to pay him back, and he came early. He came on...
Just a second. I don't understand. I thought you were going to buy him a truck. And the truck was $5,400 that you found. And now you're telling me it was a loan that you were supposed to pay him back for in Thanksgiving. Can we get our act together here?
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Okay, the $5,400 was a loan or for a truck?
For a loan. For a truck, I'm sorry.
What was Thanksgiving?
Because bills that I was sick in and out of the hospital. So then I had to get it back to him by Thanksgiving.
Okay, so you took the $5,400, according to you, and you didn't buy him the truck.
Correct.
You used some of the money.
Yes.
So far, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
No. You want to tell me your version of the story? Because it gets more complicated.
Yes, ma'am. July 5th, I was walking my dog past his house. He stopped me to talk just casually, and he said he was on his way to buy a car, and that if I wanted to go in with him to get this car, he was going to flip it and get 3 times the amount of money. I said, I'm not in the market for a car, but I am looking for a dually truck because I bought a trailer. I need something to pull my trailer with. He said, oh, we have a 2003 F-350 dually truck at the yard where I work. And
this is in July.
This is in July.
This is in July.
July the 6th, July the 5th. He says it's $3,800.
I thought you didn't work since last year.
I didn't.
Okay, keep going.
So I didn't have the money available to me at the moment, but I called my landlord, who was willing to loan me $4,000. I got a loan from my landlord and an agreement to pay him back within 30 days.
Who is this?
This is a witness.
Not your landlord.
No, not my landlord. This is another $1,000 from my landlord.
Let me see proof of that. Why would your landlord give you $4,000?
Because I have a very good ongoing relationship with him. He loaned me $4,000 for 30 days. I knew I had money coming in from a check. My wife was involved in a very serious accident. That's why she's not working today. And the check there in that stack is $10,800 to be paid for the car that she wrecked by the insurance company. The check of $10,800, that was how I was going to pay my landlord back. So it's more than enough money to pay my landlord back within the 30 days.
And your landlord is?
Artman. So I had a loan agreement with him.
Just a second. Just a second. Did you deposit the money into Mr. Artman's account on August 6th?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Uh-huh.
That was the 30 days.
Got it. Go ahead.
Mr. Fitzgerald, the $3,800, he sends me a text saying, hey, bro, we got a better truck. It's 2007, better condition, lower miles. I'd much rather see you in this truck than a 2003. It's only $5,400.
Where did you get the other money from?
Little by little, I paid him over the course of 2 weeks of jobs that I had already
$1,200.
Contracted $1,200.
Got it. Okay, so then this is what happened. He never gave you back your money.
That's correct.
And he never got furious.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't blame you. And what happened was he had a truck, and he said to you, listen, I don't have the truck, I'm not feeling well, and whatever. Take my truck, and we'll call it even. And he gave you his truck. What kind of truck was that?
A 2000 Ford Ranger pre-runner.
Could you look up that card?
I have pictures of that truck.
Just a second. So you knew that you had gotten a little snookered with him, so you took the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you found out when you went to register it that it had a title loan on it
Correct.
of $4,000.
Yes, ma'am.
You still have the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And is the truck running?
I believe so, yes.
What do you mean you believe so?
It's just sitting there.
Well, it shouldn't just be sitting there. It just shouldn't be sitting there.
Okay.
Okay, so you agreed to take his truck. You have the title to that truck? Or the loan company has the title?
The loan company has.
And what's the name of the loan company?
Title Max Loan.
Is that who is
Yes,
the
ma'am.
lien on it? Title?
Title Max.
Title Max. And what's the amount of the loan? Now, what's the amount of the loan?
I believe $3,600 now. It was lower a month ago. Interest goes up $10 a day, unfortunately.
$10 a day. So
Yes,
it's $3,600. Is that correct?
I believe. Max loan, but I have about.
You have about what?
About $10,000 or more into the truck. I have all the pictures of.
Who cares?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you buy a car from him?
Yeah, he used the same story with me and
He
him.
took money.
He took my money and had a police report.
How did you find each other?
He know my phone
From
number.
the police records?
Yes.
Police records. Many people.
Why don't they just arrest him for fraud?
And later today,
It is my understanding from reading these papers that you were together with her in the car when the tolls were accumulated. Is that yes or no?
I wasn't with her, no. The first time that we got billed for that, we went to LA together. But on the remaining of the toll roads, I was not with her.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Charles Griffith says his neighbors, Scott and Deborah Fitzgerald, scammed him on the sale of a truck. Scott and Deborah are countersuing for assault, harassment, and the return of a vehicle.
Okay, listen to me carefully. You agreed in satisfaction of whatever deal you had with him to take the truck
Yes, ma'am.
and say goodbye.
Yes, ma'am.
But then you were hit with the fact that there was a title loan on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Papers.
I guess this would be the.
No, the loan papers from Title Max.
I don't have those.
But you have that information because you must have that information because you were told that Title Max had
Yes,
Title
ma'am.
Max. Great. We need that.
This is from the DMV stating that Title Max owns the title.
Title Max owns the title. Great.
Which means they own the truck.
And $3,600 is about what it is.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have the truck, which is what your deal was eventually. Title Max, great. In Los Angeles. So this is how we're resolving your case. We're going to write out a check to Title Max. You have the truck. That's what you bargained for with him. Then you're going to get a free and clear title.
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Great.
Then you don't have a truck anymore. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. Now you're smiling. You thought it was going to end differently, right? Not you. Not going to end differently. Going to write out a check to the people who gave you the money for the car, not you. And you're not getting the truck back because you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is that he harassed you and he bullied you and he assaulted your wife, and it's terrible. I'll get to that in a minute. Tell me your name.
Yeah, my name is Tony Trin.
Do you have any dealings with him?
Yeah, I know him from my co-worker.
Did you buy a car from him?
Yeah, he used the same story with me, with support. He admitted he owed me money.
I'd like to see it. So why don't you sue him?
I did.
Did you get a judgment?
No, I had a small claim, and I sent to his address, but he moved, so I know I can get him.
How did you find each other?
He called me. He know me from the record. He pulled out from the record. He know my phone number.
From the police records?
Yes.
Police records. Many people.
Why don't they just arrest him for fraud?
I sued him.
Why don't they just arrest him for fraud?
I had no idea.
When did this happen with the car with you?
I think November 2013. And that time I go with another people.
How do you support yourself now? Disability?
Yeah.
Nature of your disability, one more time.
My back is completely shattered. I have neuropathy. They're getting ready to do surgery on my kidney. I have some health stuff going on. I have a caretaker that takes care of me at the house.
Who's your caretaker?
My mother-in-law.
Your mother-in-law?
Through IHSS.
I'm going to write out a check to Title Max. If it's more than that, that's what it's going to be. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I'm done with you.
Is our excuse, you may step out.
When I was in the hospital, he came to my house and pretty much threatened my wife.
I'm very happy with her decision.
I think she'd my family if I didn't give the truck up that night under distress.
I don't believe there's any truth at all to that.
I got hit.
No, I never hit her. Never laid a hand on her.
I was in no state of mind when I came home to sign what I signed.
Investigate the person first before you give them money.
They'll be out of there in about 30 days, so.
I hope that they end up moving. I really do.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Salazar versus Rodriguez. Step forward.
Ricky and Jessica Salazar are suing Ricky's aunt, Eliza Rodriguez, for unpaid care credit charges and for toll fees on a car they leased for her.
Mr. and Mrs. Salazar, who is the relative of the defendant?
I am.
You don't have to poke him. Don't poke him.
Oh, sorry.
And how is she a relative of yours?
She's my aunt.
There came a time when, according to your complaint, she was in a situation where she was going to become homeless, she and her family. And you agreed to allow her to move in with you and your family.
Yes.
And there was an agreement to pay rent. She moved in with a husband and some children.
No, I have no husband, just my son.
Just your son. And there was an agreement to pay rent?
Yes, the first month after I moved in with them.
And you got a job and you did start to pay rent?
Correct.
That was $500 a month?
Correct.
Is your claim that she owes you for a few things? One of the things that you claim she owes you for is an unpaid credit care.
Care credit.
And tell me about what that is. Is that a...
It's a credit card to help for dental vision. It's very hard to get approved for it based on credit scoring.
So who got approved?
It was mine. I've had it previous years.
It was yours?
Yes.
And you needed to use it for eye care?
For eye care and for dental work.
And so she loaned you her card for that?
She did, yes.
And how much did you use on her card?
I used close to $700. It was about $687 that I used for the dental work and for the eyewear as well.
Did you pay them back?
I was starting to make payments on that card.
Did you pay them back?
For the full amount, no.
What amount did you pay back?
I made a couple of payments. I didn't bring proof of that, but I did make a couple payments there. I think one was $75, and I can't recall how much the other one was.
Were there two payments that you made?
There are several payments. She's made maybe multiple payments in 1 month. Some of, I believe, some like...
I want you to...
15.
Tell me the money that she paid, since she doesn't have proof, on the card. Was there zero balance on the card?
Yes.
Oh, then I'll take a look at it. There are fees built up on this card.
Mm-hmm.
There are charges built up on this card.
Yes.
So the new balance is $694.27.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Expensive card. Got to pay that off.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Anything else?
There was damages to the vehicle when she brought it to his back about a little after midnight.
Just a second. But you weren't charged for that, correct?
No.
So then
okay,
there's nothing to sue her for.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ricky and Jessica Salazar say Ricky's aunt, Eliza Rodriguez, owes for care credit charges and toll fees.
Okay, the next thing that you claim she owes you for is for tolls.
Yes.
At some point, you leased a car for her. Mr. Salazar?
No, it's for me.
It was for you?
But I lent it to her.
Okay, so you leased a car.
On her promise that she would pay it off until she could get it refinanced, then the car would be hers.
Well, if it's a lease, then it doesn't get to be hers.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever use the car, Mr. Salazar?
I borrowed it, yes.
You did. How many times did you borrow it?
I'd say about twice.
And did you borrow it for long trips? If there was overage on the mileage when you took the car back, I'm not going to sit here and figure that out. So let's talk about the tolls. How much were the tolls?
About almost $250.
What is the exact amount of the tolls?
I don't have that paper with me with the exact amount.
Well, then
but I do have the proof of each payment or statement that they've given to us when we went to go speak to them regarding the situation.
It is my understanding from reading these papers that you were together with her in the car when the tolls were accumulated. Is that yes or no?
I wasn't with her, no.
Who was?
It was her, I don't know, she had position of the vehicle as when she moved out, so I don't know.
The first time that we got billed for that, it was once going to LA, once coming back. That was on February 6th. We went to LA together before we were going to go to Vegas to go shop. Going, she was like, Just going.
So you were together?
Yes, we were.
And on one of them, we were together. But on the remaining of the toll roads, I was not with her. Because I have them here. They took pictures of it, the date and the times, and the locations.
Fine.
And they were when she wasn't living with us anymore.
So the one in February, is that on?
I was with her on one of them.
Take the one in February out.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I want you to tell me, what is the total amount that is owed on tolls?
$279.35.
Now you can hand those up. Okay, you do agree that when you go through a toll and you don't pay the toll, you have to pay the tolls when you're driving?
That's correct.
Okay, fine. So far that's $973. Anything else?
There was damages to the vehicle when she brought it to us back about a little after midnight.
Just a second.
Okay, the vehicle that she had possession of. Oh.
I understand. But,
sorry.
But you weren't charged for that, correct?
No.
So then
okay,
there's nothing to sue her for.
I understand.
$973. Are we done? Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $973. We're done.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It seems like they were just trying to sue me for anything that they could because I moved out.
I got my care credit back paid. I'm happy for that.
He put a knife to my neck. He was arrested for it.
It's a closed case that is not to be discussed here.
There was so much tension in the home that I just had to get out.
We shaded for it.
Staying away from him or them.
I'm hurt.
What money did she give you?
She didn't give me any money. She paid some things for me, ma'am.
Banking on an over-generous friend.
She helped me with moving. She fed me.
Why did you give her all this money?
For over 13 years, I have been assisting her.
But her days of generosity are over.
Miss Reynolds came to me with a promissory note. Well, I told her I wasn't signing anything.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Sharon Reynolds is suing her former friend, Teresa Barksdale, for unpaid loans to pay her bills.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 278 on the calendar in the matter of Reynolds versus Barksdale.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Reynolds, according to your complaint, you've known Miss Barksdale for a good part of your life.
Yes.
And it is your claim that sometime about a year ago, she had run into some fight. He wanted to pay you back.
Yes.
She was expecting, according to you, some money. Did you receive a settlement from Social Security?
In 2014, yes, ma'am.
In what amount?
I received 2 payments from Social Security in 2014 for $2,163, and September the 2nd, 2014 for $2,759.10.
Is that the only money you ever received from Social Security?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that for?
When I applied for Social Security, I had to wait a certain length of time, and they gave me back payment.
Do you get Social Security disability now?
I get SSI, ma'am.
So that's Social Security disability?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you're not 65, right?
Yes, ma'am. Right.
You're not
correct.
65.
You're correct.
So those are the only lump sum payments you received from Social Security? Is
Yes,
that what
ma'am.
you're telling me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, in 2015, you had some money trouble?
I was homeless, ma'am.
How did Miss Reynolds help you?
In 2015, I had put in for public housing, and I had signed a lease, and I had to cancel the lease because I couldn't wait on public housing. They wouldn't help me if I was in a year's lease. So Miss Reynolds helped me.
What'd she give you?
She did a lot of things with my daughter, 7, for school. 7 was in high school. She helped me with moving. She fed me. I spent all my...
No, she fed you. I'm not interested in her feeding you. What money did she give you?
She didn't give me any money. She paid some things for me, ma'am.
What did she pay for?
She has a list of things.
No, not she. Don't tell me what her list is. I want you to tell me what your list is.
I don't have a list, ma'am.
So she gave you that list?
I have the list.
Just a second. When did she give you that list?
I just received this from my lawyer 2 days before I came here. I never had a list before.
What's the name of your lawyer?
Mr. Stevens. He's a legal aid lawyer in Norfolk, Virginia.
When did you go to Mr. Stevens?
Prior to coming here, the Wednesday, I think.
Is that the first time you went to see him?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you go to see Mr. Stevens right before you came here?
Because Mr. Stevens was appointed to me as a legal aid lawyer, and we went to court on October, and he was out of town.
Just a second. For what case?
For the same case.
So he was appointed for you for a civil case?
Yes, ma'am.
Who appointed him for a civil case for you?
Legal aid.
You've been represented by legal aid before in criminal case?
No, ma'am.
Had you ever been involved in a criminal case?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Were you represented by a private lawyer or legal aid?
Court appointed.
What were you being sued in 2016?
This case right here.
Well, explain to me how that came about. Look at me. Don't look down. Look at me. Explain to me how that came about.
Miss Reynolds came to me with a promissory note back in May for some things that she had paid for me for. At that time, I didn't know what she was charging me for, and I asked if she would write out and tell me what I owed her for. At that time, when I asked her, she told me, come on, you know you owe me. Just sign a promissory note.
And?
So I told her I wasn't signing anything.
That was in May?
That was in May, ma'am.
And what happened next?
And I still didn't know what I was being charged for. 7 was graduating. Like I said, I had been friends with her for a long time. I invited her to see 7 off the prom and graduation and all that. I heard from her again, and maybe a couple of months ago, before we went to court, about September, she called me and she said her lawyer said to ask me one more time to give her money. And I told her that before we go to court or whatever, and I told her, I said, Sharon, I said, well, you do what you have to do. I don't have anything to say about that. So I received a summons to come to court on October the 3rd in Virginia Beach Court. And my lawyer at that time got to continue to the 15th of November.
Was that the legal aid lawyer, Mr. Stevens?
Yes, ma'am.
So Mr. Stevens got it continued. You went to see Mr. Stevens. And how much was Ms. Reynolds suing you for when you got the summons on October 3rd? So Mr. Stevens gave you the list.
Yes, ma'am.
Of what Ms. Reynolds says she helped you with.
Yes, ma'am.
In 2015, expecting to be repaid.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see the list. So she loaned you $2,000 in 2014, and you paid her back in 2014 because you got the $2,000 check from Social Security. Is that right?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
Yes and no.
She says you paid her back.
She did not loan me $2,000, ma'am.
Really? What
Yes.
did she do? And why did you give it back to her?
She loaned me $1,300.
And?
And I gave it back to her.
$1,300?
$1,300.
Okay, good, because that's not really part of this lawsuit. And there are certain things here that I'm not even considering, but she says that she paid in October of 2015. You were staying at the In-Town Suites because you had gotten evicted from your apartment.
That's not
And
true.
she said she paid $1,348 for the In-Town Suites, where I assume you and your daughter were staying. Did she do that?
Yes, ma'am, but I didn't get evicted.
Okay, but she paid
But she
that
did
bill.
pay it. Yes, she did.
Okay, great. Then, in November, you started to stay at bill.
She paid that bill. She paid it in advance.
$1,099.
Yes, ma'am, she paid that.
She says on November 20th, you had an outstanding back payment with Sunrise Apartments.
Yes, ma'am.
For $1,440.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you wanted to move back into Sunrise Apartments.
No, ma'am.
You did not. Did you ever move back into Sunrise?
No, ma'am.
So why did you pay this $1,440?
I had to pay $1,400 because I had to break the lease.
Well, but that was in 2014. Then you moved to other
No. It was
places.
2016. I moved into Sunrise Apartments in 2014. I moved out of Sunrise Apartment in 2015, 16.
Well, then what were you staying in motels for?
Because I was waiting for public housing, and I had signed a lease with... I was living with my son when I moved in Sunrise Apartments at first. My son moved out, and I went to take over the lease. But it was a year's lease that was signed, and public housing said that I couldn't be in a lease for a year. So the lease was canceled 14 days after I had signed it. And I brought a letter, I brought my 30-day notice also, where I had to cancel the lease, and I also bought the lease.
Now, Did you tell her in October that your car had stopped working and
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
needed to fix your car?
Yes, it broke down on the way taking Seven to school, yes.
And did she, in fact?
She paid for it. She said her husband said pay for it.
What do you do for a living?
My husband and I, we own a clothing manufacturing company.
Why did you give her all this money?
Well, the reason why I tried to help Seven, my niece, is because they had been displaced for so many years. They had been from Atlanta to Kentucky to Detroit, and I just wanted her to have some stability. So my reason for doing that was for Seven, not for Miss Wills.
For her daughter.
For the daughter, yes. And they call me Aunt Sharon. For over 13 years, I have been assisting her, sending her money. And so those loans, I mean, those were gifts. But 2014, that's when the loan started.
Anything you want to tell me?
Yes, ma'am. I borrowed that money for Sharon in 2014 because I had money coming in. And I told her that it would be a few months before the money came in. And as soon as I got that money, 2 days after the money went into the bank, it went direct deposit, I went and withdrew $1,300, and I took it down to Sharon's house to give it back to her. She told me to give it to her husband. I gave it to her husband. Seven was with me. That's not the money that she...
No, I know that.
Okay, you said, okay. It's been 16 years. I spent everything because my family turned on me. I came out of a bad marriage, and she helped me, and she calls her Aunt Sharon. Sharon's like a sister to me. And everything Sharon done for me, I appreciate. I never told Sharon, ma'am, that I was going to pay her back, that I had another income coming in. When I borrowed this money, I showed her the letter that they gave me, that how much I was getting and when I was going to get. And so says I do not pay money for 2 years in a row. It was only 2 payments. And I did that. She told me what she was doing for me was because of Seven. She told Seven the same thing. Originally, I wasn't going into the hotel. I asked her if I could stay at her house. She said, yeah, because I spend most of my time over there anyway. She talked to her husband. Her husband said that I couldn't stay there because the family would be upset because she showed me more attention than her family members, like I was really a relative.
That's not true.
So, however, Your Honor, she said...
You have to pay her back the money, you and your daughter. How old is your daughter?
She's 18. She just turned 18.
Great. What does she do?
She doesn't work. She just got out of school. She's going to the Merchant Marine.
Well, now she has to work.
She's going into the Merchant Marine.
Great.
Ma'am.
Well, that's fine. And I don't know what the nature of your disability is. I don't know how much you get from Social Security disability. Did your daughter get any money from Social Security disability?
No, she does not, ma'am.
Good. You owe $4,584. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Well, it was difficult because I gave her several attempts.
Everything that Ms. Reynolds said she done for me, she done it. It was not a loan.
To rectify the situation, and it was to no avail.
If I could have paid her, I would have, not because I owed her.
I just had to do what I needed to do.
The only thing I have to say is, what profits a man to gain the world and lose his soul?
I don't know. She's eccentric.
And I have nothing else to say about her.
She's a master of manipulation.
I have no comment.
And the friendship is done.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Perez versus Rowan. Step forward.
Alejandro Perez is suing Thomas Rowan for a refund for an RV and punitive damages.
Mr. Perez, you bought a recreational vehicle from the defendant.
Correct.
On what date did you buy it?
June 29th.
You answered an ad. He had an ad.
Yeah, he had an ad and an offer up.
And when you saw it, you came with a mechanic?
Yes, my friend Jack.
And Mr. Rowan didn't object to your mechanic looking at the RV?
Not at all.
So that was a smart thing that you did. You paid him how much?
$2,500.
And the RV, according to what I read in the papers, was 33 years old.
Yes.
And what did you do on the 29th when you paid him for the RV? Did you leave his... And how far is your home from Mr. Rowan's home?
15 miles.
And it got to your house?
Yeah, a father-in-law's house, as a matter of fact.
But you drove it 15 miles?
Yes.
And it drove?
It drove.
This is your problem. You want your money back. You say that the thing blew up after a relatively short period of time. You got some burns as a result of it blowing up. You want your money back. And Mr. Rowan says you bought a 33-year-old RV. You bought it as is, and he's not giving you your money back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He called my brother-in-law, who was sitting inside the RV with me, and called him, hey, there's smoke coming out of the RV. Please pull over. And as I got off, there's a bunch of smoke coming out of the engine, and it died.
You still have to tell me, sir, why you think you're entitled to your money back.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alejandro Perez says Thomas Rowan lied about the condition of an RV he sold him.
Now, you have a contract with him?
A contract?
A written contract?
No.
Can I see the ad that you answered?
Yes. This is the ad that was posted.
This says vintage 83 Fleetwood Pace Arrow motorhome, 454 Chevy chassis. Oh, now you have to tell me why you think you're entitled to your money back.
Okay, you went the 29th, the day after I got off of work.
You have to tell me why you think you bought a 33-year-old RV in running condition. You brought your mechanic. Your mechanic said, I assume your mechanic said buy it.
Yeah,
because that's why
said
you brought
it looked good.
Well, that's why you brought your mechanic. He didn't hide anything. He said, go look at it. You want your mechanic to see it? See it. You drove it, seemed to drive okay. When you buy a 33-year-old piece of equipment, unless he gives you a guarantee, there are no guarantees.
Well, he assured me that it was in perfectly running condition.
It was in perfectly good running condition. You ran it for 15 miles.
Yeah, but once I took it to get smogged, my Jack was following me, and he called my brother-in-law.
Just a second. So you drove it to your father-in-law's house, and you parked it there. That was 15 miles. And when did you take it to be smogged? On what date?
On the 30th.
So the next day?
Next day.
So you drove it to be smogged?
Yes.
And how far did you have to drive it to the place where they were smogging it?
It was 15 miles.
Another 15 miles?
It did not make it all the way.
Okay, so...
As I was driving to get a smog, he called my brother-in-law, who was sitting inside the RV with me, and called him, hey, there is smoke coming out of the RV. Please pull over. So I cautiously pulled over, and as I got off, there's a bunch of smoke coming out of the engine. We got out of the RV. It didn't turn on, so I made sure it was okay to stay there overnight. I called a tow truck the next day and got it towed back to my father-in-law's house.
You still have to tell me, sir, why you think you're entitled to your money back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Unless your mechanic is prepared to tell me that somehow this man jerry-rigged this RV so that it would travel 15 miles to your father-in-law's house and then it would start to smoke. You can't tell me that, can you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alejandro Perez says Thomas Rowan lied about the condition of an RV he sold him.
Go ahead.
As far as I know, when you buy a vehicle and they tell you it's in perfect running conditions, it shouldn't overheat. It should be in perfect running conditions, as he's promised, because it was fit for me to make my camping trip that weekend.
Mr. Perez, your view of the law is wrong, and I'm going to explain why. When you are selling merchandise, any kind of merchandise, new or used, the chatter that a salesman tells you is what you call puffing. It's a cream puff of a car. It was only driven by a little old lady going to the Piggly Wiggly every Sunday to buy her groceries. Other than that, it's always been garage. Happens to be 30 years old, but it's in great shape. You went so far as to bring a mechanic who told you to buy it. And you drove it without incident, the 15 miles to your father-in-law's house and part of the way to have it smogged. So it was running, and you had no issues with the way it was running because you brought your family out to see what a great thing you had purchased.
Right.
I feel sorry for you, but there is no legal remedy unless your contract with him guarantees the car for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months. There are certain guarantees other than salesman puffing, and the salesman can be a private person or not. Do you understand?
Yes. I also have messages from me and him back and forth saying that it is reliable, that it's good, that will get me anywhere and back.
It was reliable. It got you from one place to another. He's not guaranteeing it.
Oh, he knew I was going to go camping. He guaranteed me it will take me go camping and back. That's not guaranteed if I drive a car for 30 miles and breaks down.
I just want to look at them so that I can make myself comfortable that there were no guarantees.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, that's not a guarantee. You say, do you think it's in good condition and that I can take my family out next weekend without dumping any money? It'll get you where you want to go and no problem. It doesn't have a house battery in right now, but if you have a hookups, you can plug it in. It's not a guarantee. Mr. Perez, I'm sorry for you, but you can't get your money back on a 33-year-old vehicle. And if your mechanic was really a great mechanic, he would have been able to tell you that there might be something wrong with the car. Unless your mechanic is prepared to tell me, which I'm absolutely positive that he's not, that somehow this man jerry-rigged this RV so that it would travel 15 miles to your father-in-law's house and then another 10 miles, and then it would start to smoke. You can't tell me that, can you? No, of course not. So that means he thinks he sold you a perfectly reasonable running RV. And when you took it, it was in good running condition. How do I know you didn't know how to drive it? Anyway, you have no case. So I'm sorry, but your case is dismissed. We're done.
Excuse you. You step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm sorry that he didn't get what he wanted out of the thing. It was a good running motorhome.
How can you
Yes, I would have driven it anywhere. I know I could have driven it.
And as it turned on, a big fire came on, and myself and my brother-in-law got burned.
Well, you're not supposed to turn the gas on and go in and light a match.
Big fireball came out underneath the sink and the oven where there was a leak.
He had manuals. He should have read them, taken safety precautions.
To go camping with the family and have a good 4th of July vacation.
Glad nobody was hurt. I mean, that's why I wish he would have got...
Which we didn't end up doing anything.
You know, what he wanted out of it. I wish he would have read the manuals and learned how to drive it.
Miss Stewart said to you, let's exchange information.
An accident victim gets blindsided again.
So you told her you had no registration.
Yes.
You had no insurance.
Nor a driver's license.
You had no driver's license?
But are good intentions good enough?
I was on my way to do that.
You weren't taking it to the Department of Motor Vehicles. You were driving your daughter to school.
I don't even have a car no more.
That's a good thing.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Cata Stewart is suing fellow motorist Demarie Gonzalez for car damages resulting from an accident.
Order. Now it's case number 304 on the calendar in the matter of Stewart versus Gonzalez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Stewart, am I correct? You drive an Uber?
Yes.
You're an Uber driver for a living. And there's an automobile accident that's the subject of this case. Each of you claim that the other is responsible for the automobile accident.
Yes.
On what date did it happen?
On March the 21st, 2016.
What time?
7:30 a.m.
And where were you going?
I was on my way to pick up an Uber fare.
And where were you going, Mr. Gonzalez?
I was taking my kids to school.
Did you have insurance?
No, I did not.
So that's why we're here.
Yes.
You were pulling out of your driveway.
Yes.
And you were making a left-hand turn.
I was, onto Eagle.
And you had the light.
Yes.
So far, are we correct?
There's no light right there.
Is there a stop sign?
Light stop signs, as you can see, but there's no lights or anything.
Okay. And?
And I made the left-hand turn. I had proceeded about 2 car lengths onto Eagle, and as I passed the second car on my right, Mr. Gonzalez hit me.
Passed?
There's 2 parked cars on the
Show
right
me
side.
where.
Sure. So as I
Show me where the 2 parked cars were.
See where the bushes are right there?
Yes.
There were 2 cars right there against the curb.
So there were 2 parked cars there?
Yes.
Which partially obstructed the view of you coming out of the driveway?
There was only 1 parked car, a white Toyota.
Okay, so there was one as you were pulling out?
Yes.
Judge Judy, if there were 2 cars parked there, I would have been able to park. And instead of being in the middle of the street, I had to pull alongside the other parked car so that I wouldn't be obstructing traffic coming that way.
You mean after the accident?
After the accident.
Move over. Can I see the damage to your car?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
after this accident, sir, the 2 of you stopped. And there's no question in my mind that Miss Stewart said to you, let's exchange information. What did you say to her?
I gave her my cell phone number.
No, that's not the information. She needed your driver's license, the registration, and your insurance.
I told her I didn't have any of that because I had just purchased the car the night before that. And so I was on my way to do that.
Just a second. So you told her you had No registration.
Yes.
You had no insurance.
Yes.
And you were driving your car.
Yes, I had just purchased.
Just a second. I don't care whether you just purchased it. You weren't taking it to the Department of Motor Vehicles. You were driving your daughter to school.
Well,
you were using the vehicle, so you had no insurance. And that's what you said to her. I just read some of the text messages. Come and
Yes,
deal with
did.
it. And what did you say to her?
I told her that I did not have any insurance.
That's right. What else did you say to her, Mr. Gonzalez, to inspire her not to call the police?
I don't remember everything that was said to her.
Well, did you say something like, we can handle this between the two of us, I don't have insurance, and I'll pay for your damage?
Yes, I did.
Not only did he say that, he said that he was expecting some money from school in the amount of like $9,400 and that he promised to pay for my damage. And, you know, I went against my better judgment because...
It doesn't make any difference. He didn't have insurance. What's the purpose of...
Nor a driver's license.
No. You had no driver's license?
I had a permit at the time.
You didn't show me
just
that.
Just a second.
You didn't ask to see me. You didn't ask to see me.
Just a second. Do you have a driver's license now?
No, I don't. I don't even...
Can I see an estimate?
I don't even have a car no more.
Just a second. Good. That's a good thing.
Right.
Without even looking at the estimate, your insurance covered the damage to the car with the exception of the $1,000 deductible.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
and it wasn't my insurance, it was Uber, because once I start driving fare-based, my insurance is not at fault. So instead of paying my normal deductible, which was like $250, I had to pay $1,000.
So you had just a second. So you had $1,000 out of Uber, because now you have Uber insurance. Do you have any other source of income?
Yes, I also drive for GU Energy Lab, and I do other things, but the only thing was affected was the driving, because I can't use a rental vehicle.
And how many days was your car in service?
3 weeks.
Do you have any proof for me as to how much you earn a week?
I do.
I'd like to see.
If you notice, Judge, some of those are just like for a day. I would make, you know, that amount of money.
I see, but sometimes it's a relatively small amount of money.
Yes.
And how much did it cost you to rent a vehicle, and did the insurance cover a rental vehicle?
The insurance did not cover a rental vehicle, so I paid $767 out of my pocket.
Can I see that?
It's on the back page. This is the rental.
Right on the money. Well, right on the money as to what I would award you for your lost wages for 3 weeks as well as the rental car. You're suing for $2,500, and the amount actually comes in my figure closer to $2,567. Now, you have a counterclaim.
Yes, I do.
This is how I respond to your counterclaim, Mr. Gonzalez. Don't drive a car when you don't have a license. Don't drive a car that's unregistered, and don't drive a car that has no insurance.
Well, that's
Do
what
you
I was
tell me?
Yeah.
Because you tell me you weren't on your way there. You were on your way to take your daughter to school at 7:30 in the morning.
My business.
Okay, good. You have the bill of sale for the car?
I have nothing. I had the car.
Just a second. You said you bought it the day before. Do you have a bill of sale to show me that you bought it a day before?
I don't have any of the papers in the car.
$2,500 judgment for the plaintiff. Counterclaims dismissed. Thank you. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I thought, you know, I wasn't going to make any money with him being in jail.
The fact that it was an accident and then I had no insurance, you know.
And he promised to pay me, so I just gave it a shot.
In California, it kind of spikes up your insurance and everything, you know.
I was dumbfounded, actually, because how are you...
I'm a single parent, you know.
...endangering your life and your children's life, driving illegal.
Make sure you got everything together before you get behind that wheel.
Don't always follow your heart, you know, go by the book.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Young versus Gibson. Step forward.
Joseph Young is suing his ex-wife, Deborah Gibson, for fraudulent use of his health care debit card.
Mr. Young, Miss Gibson is your former wife.
That is correct.
And you have 2 children.
4 total, Your Honor.
4. How old are they?
28, 25, 19, and 17.
And you are still financially responsible only for the 17-year-old?
Yes, Your Honor.
And this came up because you have some sort of a prepaid tax dollars. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Health savings account.
And that has to be used for only medical purposes?
Yes, Your Honor. Medical, dental purposes of anyone who's my dependent.
Who provides you that? I mean, I know that it's your money, but how do you get that? I've never heard of it.
Through my employer, Your Honor. They take out money pre-tax from my paycheck.
And you get a card?
Yes, a debit card.
And your former wife has that card for the purposes of taking care of your 17-year-old.
Yes, Your
and
Honor.
her medical needs. So far, is that correct?
No, Your Honor. I don't have a physical copy of the card, just a copy
that he sent to my daughter.
So that you could use it for her.
Exactly.
And your complaint today is that your former wife used that card for your oldest daughter, who's 28, thereby placing you in jeopardy,
yes,
tax-wise, and she did it without consulting you.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And you want her to reimburse you.
Yes, the plaintiff, my ex.
Ms.
Yes.
Gibson?
The copy of the card was actually sent to our oldest daughter for the purpose of using for her medical bills because she was in between the age of leaving her father's insurance because she hit 26 and she didn't have her own. So our oldest daughter, who's here, contacted her father.
Tell me your name.
Dominique.
Did you contact your father and tell him that you needed a copy of the medical card?
It must have been in June. I don't remember specifically.
June of what year?
2015, Your Honor.
When you were 27?
Yes.
And no longer his responsibility.
No.
So you called him and said what?
I sent him a text message and I asked him for the 3 numbers on the back of the card as well as the card, and he sent them to me.
Did you tell him why you needed them?
Yes, for my lab expenses.
And you used it just for the labs, and the labs were $561.
Yes,
yes. And we have a copy of the actual
Did you
bill.
have that discussion with your daughter?
No, Your Honor, I did not. And I have helped my daughter financially since then. I have receipts showing I gave her $6,000 during that month.
Well, you have the text message?
No, I don't have the text message, Your Honor.
Why not?
I didn't think that it was going to come to this. I thought that my father sent me the 3 digits on the card, and I used them, and that was it.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your former wife is not involved unless you have some sort of proof that your wife was the one who used the card.
I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at that.
And later today,
when we looked at the door, we realized that somebody had presumably locked themselves out and they'd shouldered into the door.
I don't know if that's what happened.
Well, you can look at the pictures.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Joseph Young says ex-wife Deborah Gibson fraudulently used his health care debit card.
Mr. Young, your daughter says that your former wife had absolutely nothing to do with this, that she was the one who used your card, and she says she used it with your permission. That's what she says.
That's untrue, Your Honor. I have other kids that are grown, and they have not used the card, and I never gave her that card.
Just a second. But that's what she says.
Yes, Your Honor.
And if that's what she says, then you are suing the wrong person.
No, Your Honor, I'm suing the person that had access to the card and was the only one authorized to use it for my minor daughter.
No. Listen to me, sir. If your daughter, who is now 28 years old, is testifying today that she texted you that she needed the codes on the card, you sent them to her, and she used the card. If what you're saying is she used it without my permission, that's a different case. But your former wife is not involved unless you have some sort of proof to me that your wife was the one who used the card.
I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at that.
Here is the receipt that was paid to email address because she was the only one who had possession of the card. Also, Your Honor, I gave my oldest daughter $6,000 that same
I don't care
month.
about the $6,000.
Why would I violate the law?
There's just a second. Is your former wife authorized to use this card?
For my...
Just a second.
Yes.
She's authorized, so she would have to sign.
Yes.
Your daughter is not.
That is correct.
But if your daughter was using it, she would sign her mother's name to any payment that she made because she knows she's not authorized to use the card. You knew that you weren't authorized to use the card?
Yes, Your Honor. But I asked my father, so I thought that his text message was appropriate for me to use it.
No, you didn't ask him, is what you said to me. You didn't ask. What you said was, I need the code on the card.
I did tell him what it was for.
Well, then, Mr. Young, I suggest you sue your daughter.
Your Honor.
Listen to me. You're going to sue your daughter unless you have something that satisfies
But I do, Your Honor.
me.
I gave my daughter $6,000 during that same month. Why would I violate the law and tell her to charge something that puts me in trouble with the IRS law?
The answer is, I don't know, but that's what she says.
But
that's what she said. You can sit down now. You have the wrong defendant.
But no, I do, Your Honor. This is the only defendant that had the possession.
I'm telling you, you do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Not happening.
What's
not
not
with
happening?
these...
Well, I've detailed the photographs of the damage.
See. Do you know how this tile got broken, sir?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Joseph Young says ex-wife Deborah Gibson fraudulently used his health care debit card.
You have the wrong defendant. You have someone who has confessed to using the card.
But only the reason why she got the card was through her mother, who inappropriately gave it to her.
I don't know that. She says no. You want this $561 back, sir? Sue your daughter. She's an adult. She's required to pay her own expenses.
Your Honor, she wasn't given the card. Whoever gave her the card...
Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You step out.
I'm disappointed in my father. This is one thing in a long line of things of trying to attack my mother.
No, I'm not worried about it at all. My daughter knows I'm taking very good care of her.
I'm not too worried, but he's done worse things to me in the past, so...
Keep doing the right thing. Telling the truth.
I hope that he wants to be the father that we always wanted him to be, but I'm not very hopeful for that.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Philip versus Say. Step forward.
David Phillip is suing his former tenant, Paul Say, for unpaid rent and damages.
Mr. Phillip, what kind of property did...
Under historical preservation in Whitley Heights in Hollywood.
How many units are in the building?
3.
Okay, so it's an apartment in a building that you own.
Correct.
And he lived there for how long, Mr. Phillip?
Oh, about 4 or 5 years, I would say.
How many years did you live
here.
there?
5 years.
May I see a copy of the lease, please?
Same.
There was a security deposit, which is what I'm looking for, $5,500 that you received.
That's correct.
Did you ever return it to the defendant?
I gave an accounting.
Did you ever return it to the defendant? The answer is no. Now I'd like to see the accounting that you gave him that ate up his $5,500 in security deposit.
Here it is.
What was the rent when you moved out?
$32.81 and 58 cents.
You moved out on August 20th, is that right?
That's correct.
And you didn't pay rent in July?
That's correct.
And you didn't pay rent for 21 days in August?
20.
20. Now I'd like to see photographs of some of this stuff that you are complaining about, sir. I want to see photographs, and I want to see the bills.
Okay, these are the photographs. $5,500 was the deposit.
I understand
and
that.
As a point of order, he didn't move out until the 21st, and here he's returning the keys on the 22nd. These are the bills, by the way.
I'd like to see the bills.
And the accounting and the copies of the checks.
Not happening.
What's
not
not
with these
happening?
bills. Not with these bills. This isn't happening with these bills.
Well, I've detailed the photographs of the damage.
I could see what... I'm going to look at the photographs now. You're not so far... Where are the photographs? There they are.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Do you know how this tile got broken, sir?
Yes, the tile got broken. Something fell off the mantle onto the tile. And
what fell off the mantle?
It was an ashtray, I think.
That you put there?
Yes.
Okay, so you're responsible for this tile?
Yes.
The repair of this tile?
I researched the tile, and it was about a $10 brick.
Well, I don't know. They
maybe
probably have called. How much did you pay to repair the broken tile?
I had a workman, and it's an old 1926 tile, and I always try and keep the property as original as possible. So he went down to Malibu Tile. He could not find a match. Then he took a similar tile, cut it down to that size, and painted it. Not very well.
The broken tile is going to eat up your $102.
Maybe.
Reasonable. Now we're up to $5,500, which is the amount you have. What about this deadbolt lock? Did you install one or you took one out?
It had been removed by the tenant during the course of the tenancy. And when we looked at the door, we realized that somebody had presumably locked themselves out and they'd shouldered into the door. So that's probably why the lock was removed. But also at the top of the door, the frame of the cathedral door had been cracked, and in order to restore that...
He's not restoring your apartment, sir. He lived there for 5 years. Most of what you're complaining about is wear and tear. Normal wear and tear on the apartment. He's not...
Yeah, but shouldering a door is not normal wear and tear.
I don't know if that's what happened.
Okay.
That's what you're presuming.
Well, you can look at the pictures. The pictures, I would think, would tell the story.
No, they don't.
Okay.
They don't tell me the story.
There was a lot of other stuff that was left as well, including a drawer full of bongs.
You got your money, sir. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
What? Sorry?
We're done. He's not refurbishing your apartment. We're finished.
Party's excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Because all the neighbors were complaining about him.
He said that I have loud parties, but I talked to my neighbors, they're all my friends.
That he was throwing parties, loud parties.
They said they would never go to court against me.
The neighbor upstairs had...
and it was all just made up.
Been woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
They always try to raise the rent on me and try to kick me out several times.
To discover Paul and his roommate.
It's all made up. He's trying to, like, put me on the spot.
Apparently doing cocaine on the table there.
He's trying to make me look like a bad person, but I don't do any drugs.
But I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles.
I'm glad to be gone and never have to deal with his again, sorry.
You hired the defendant to set up a website for a business that you were contemplating.
Setting up shop online was the easy part.
The site is essentially done.
The man did what he was supposed to do. You haven't finished your job.
But revelations could crash his plans.
His response was, I do not want Social Security to know that I'm running this business. I want it to be...
I do.
Got it.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Jeffrey Turner is suing his former co-worker, Marcus Montgomery, for failing to build his website.
Order. All rise. It's case number 294 on the calendar, the matter of Turner versus Montgomery.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Turner, you hired the defendant to set up a website for a business that you were contemplating. The business was some sort of selling T-shirts. You paid him some upfront money, and then you made another payment to him and claimed that he didn't set up the website for you. You want your money back.
Correct.
That's what the case is about. Mr. Montgomery said he spent innumerable hours working on your website. He had people working on the website, and the reason it never came to fruition is because you didn't provide him with certain data that he needed in order to complete the job. That's your defense.
Correct.
Okay, great. So first, let's start out by saying I know very little about setting up a website. So I'm going to do this in a relatively simplistic way for me so that I understand it. When did you hire him to build this website for you?
August 31st, 2000. Time was $1,800.
And then you made an additional payment to him.
Correct.
On what date?
September the 15th, 2015.
Now, when you paid him the additional amount of money, which was what sum?
$1,695.
I assume, sir, that you looked to see what he had done so far.
There was no.
You didn't? Well, if I gave somebody $1,800 and they said they needed the balance of the money, I would say, let me see what you did so far. And you didn't do that.
Correct.
Why?
I was on the understanding that the $1,800 was needed for his two people that were working on the team, and I, at that point, was part of phase one. And
well, part of phase one, but in September, should have had something for you to look at.
I did have a under construction site that was put up.
Could I see it? Well, you could show me what you did for him, too, up until September 15th.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, and it's called Sportswear Alley?
Correct.
And you were going to sell caps, junior athletic wear, outdoor sportswear?
No, it was just football jerseys, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Oh. Did you ever see these?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Sportswear Alley, Coach's Corner. It only costs $25 a month. What is that?
That was something that Jeff and I discussed, where he would have an insider report for fanatical football fans, people that are really into football. They would get injury reports on the week. They would get team forecasts and other information about what their team of choice was doing.
Did you ever show him these?
No, he never asked to see them. And the thing is those jerseys did not go up until February of this year, because he didn't give me the list of jerseys he wanted. And here's the email from him, Your Honor. The date is February 9th of 2016. 5.5 months later is when I get the list of jerseys that he wanted
great.
done.
Terrific. Do you remember sending this to him in February?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. And that was the list of the 100 jerseys that he was supplying me on the website of the players' jerseys that I wanted.
So in February, you had this communication with him. You supplied him with the jerseys. As a result of that, you did this?
I've done the whole thing, Your Honor. There's 8 pages of jerseys. The whole 100 have been loaded. The problem is I got that this year in February. The site is essentially done, but he has never provided me a payment method to where someone can pay and they'll get a jersey. I mean, he hasn't given me something that will...
So is what you're telling me that at this point, the only thing you need from the plaintiff, because the site is completed, is for him to open an account with Visa, for instance,
and that was...
or MasterCard or PayPal or whatever people use these days. What is it, Bitcoin or whatever else it is, and say, this is the way you have to pay for your jersey. Am I correct? I don't know. I've never ordered anything
Sounds right.
online. So is that what you're missing?
Yes, that's one thing I'm missing, Your Honor, but here's the whole issue. When we first started this, I told Jeff, I need you to go down to Secretary of State, take the name Sportswear Alley, get a DBA, go to your bank, and open up an account. His response was, I do not want Social Security to know that I'm running this business. I want it to be under the radar. That's why he would not provide that, and he tried to get a prepaid card, I guess, and the card has never worked. So that's one thing I need. The second thing I need is to know what type of jerseys these are. If you look, Your Honor, on those jerseys, you'll see that there's a default price of $5, and you'll see there's no description.
Oh, I understand. How old are you, sir?
I am 53 years old.
Well, you're certainly much too young to collect Social Security, so you collect Social Security disability.
I do. And
how long have you been collecting a certain amount of money that disability stops?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Got it. Got it.
Your Honor, I supplied a card for him.
What kind of card,
It was
sir?
a debit card. The plan was that, in even thinking about building this, is that I wanted to eventually challenge myself to get off of Social Security.
Well, that's very nice, but then you should have taken his advice. The first thing you have to do is register your name. The next thing you have to do is go and open a bank account in the name of that LLC, corporation, or whatever it is, so that if people want to purchase something, they know that you are a legitimate company.
Understand?
He says that the site is ready. Is the site ready except for the billing method?
The billing method?
And the price of the jerseys.
The price, and also I need to know if they're going to be embroidered jerseys, mesh jerseys. There needs to be a description under each jersey of what it is so the customer knows what they're buying. He's never provided that. On the first 2 pages, he's supposed to provide me with just rough content.
I just want to know.
And I'll put it up for him.
Okay, fine. So what you're here for, Mr. Turner, is a premature action. The first thing you have to do is register the name. Have you done that? The answer is yes or no.
No, Your Honor.
State, wherever that is, will research the name and see if that name is available. You don't even know if that name is available. What if somebody else has the name Sportswear Alley?
Sportswear Alley got picked up and then released because it was taken hostage, Your Honor. What I mean by taken hostage is that the name was taken and held for sale for $570 on the...
Mr. Turner, are you saying that the domain name... The domain name...
Correct.
Somebody owns it, and they wanted money for it when you went to GoDaddy? I mean, I understand that. I've done that. I understand. Somebody explained that to me. You're here prematurely, sir. The man did what he was supposed to do. You haven't finished your job. Then, if he doesn't deliver the website after you give him what he needs, you can come back. But you have to register the name. You have to go and open a bank account. You have to say who own Sportswear Alley, because Secretary of State's going to know who the shareholders are in Sportswear Alley. We're going to be all above the radar. So if your business takes off, or even if it doesn't take off big, if it takes off little, then the Secretary of State will notify the federal government, and the federal government will say, well, he's evident clearly Mr. Turner is not so disabled because he's running a business and he's making money. So your website, do you understand?
I understand. Can I interject something, Your Honor?
All I want to know is, do you understand what you have to provide him?
Yes, I...
Good. Did you provide him those things?
I have not. On August the 28th, I went over. I wanted to see and prove over the past year before I filed this. I wanted to see and prove what he had. And he said, I can't show you that.
Oh, I'd like to see it. Can you show it to me?
Yeah, I can show you.
Great.
And, Your Honor, one of the problems with Jeff just showing up at my house...
No, I don't care about that. Just show me what you have. So just so that we're clear, while he's looking for that, Mr. Turner, what he needs from you is a legitimate method of payment, which requires you taking several steps, which you haven't done. Second, he requires the price of each shirt, and he requires a description of each shirt, whether they're cotton, whether they're mesh, whether they're solid, whether they're embroidered. And if you say, I provided him with that information, show me when you provided it to him.
This is just the front page, Your Honor. You can hit the side, and it'll take you tab. It'll take you to separate pages. And that domain, sportswearalley.com, I currently own that domain, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, so you own it, but you're prepared to give it to him?
Yeah, I don't want it.
Okay, fine.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
She's that she moved out in between our birthdays.
Did you take her out for her birthday?
No, ma'am.
Was she still living in your house at the end of May?
Yes, Your Honor.
See, usually men don't have a memory for that. Got it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jeffrey Turner says former co-worker Marcus Montgomery never completed the website he paid him to build.
Now, what do I do? Up and down or side to side?
Yeah, you can go up and down, and then you can go. You can hit on the side to go to different. And all 8 divisions that he wanted, all 100 jerseys, are on this site. They just don't have any description and don't have any pricing.
By the way, where are you going to get these jerseys from, Mr. Turner?
Mr. Montgomery was supposed to negotiate with manufacturers as to where, because I don't have the slightest idea where I was to get these from. He told me when I went over there, he might have a place in China that might be able to.
So what have you done in the past year?
In the past year, I have been waiting on seeing this, at the very least, the site that, it's showing product.
Okay. That's what you have to do. I've already told you what you have to do. Your case is dismissed, Mr. Turner. Without prejudice, you can come back once you've complied with everything that he says he needs, which are 3 things. A proper method of billing, which is recognized by the Secretary of State in the section of the T-shirts. Do you understand?
I understand.
Good. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel that he didn't do his due diligence to find out what is entailed in starting a business.
Sounds like I've more money of an investment.
And the licensure is a big deal.
That's one of the things that that was shown.
It's prohibitively expensive to start it.
After I had given the money.
And I think you should have researched that before you...
because I was going into it blindly.
Before he jumped in with both feet.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Simpson versus Mullins. Step forward.
Doris Simpson is suing her ex-boyfriend, Ulysses Mullins, for unpaid rent, hotel costs, and a broken tablet.
Miss Simpson, the defendant took you in with your children, is that right?
Yes.
And you had a relationship with him for several months?
Incorrect, but
How
yes.
long?
About 3 months.
And during that 3-month period, you and your kids lived in you have a home or an apartment?
Apartment, ma'am.
Where had you lived prior to moving in with Mr. Mullins?
I was in my own residence in Burnsville.
And what happened with that residence?
When I met the party, we agreed to move in together, and so I gave up my home to move in with him.
So you were paying rent?
Yes.
In what month did you move?
Can I please say something? I just wanted to clarify, Your Honor, when me and Ms. Simpson met, she was actually in transition from moving from her place in Burnsville, and when she moved in, her and her family moved in with me. They were actually living in this hotel, and she was paying like $80, $90 a week. I told her she can help me, we can...
Just a second. Were you living in a hotel?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
2.
How old are they?
8 and 3. But at that time, I only had one child, and that was the 2-year-old.
Okay. Did you pay him any rent in April?
No, I didn't.
Did you pay him any rent in May?
Yes.
How much?
$215.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Did she pay you any rent in May?
No, ma'am.
What about in June?
Yes, ma'am.
How much rent did she pay you in June?
She paid me a total of $400.
What date in June?
June, let's say the middle of June, June 15th.
Do you know when you paid him?
Yes, it was in the middle of May.
And then there came a time when Mr. Mullins asked you and your children to leave?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you ever move back into the house with your
did
children?
not.
Did you ever stay over at the defendant's house? He's looking at you.
No, I did not.
Is that right?
No, Your Honor, that's not true.
I have proof that I was not in his home overnight.
I'd like to see it.
Judge Judy. Doris Simpson says ex-boyfriend Ulysses Mullins owes for rent, hotel costs, and a broken tablet.
How long after the $400 did he ask you to leave?
The money was given around May, maybe the 19th, and then I came back for a couple of days, and then I was put out.
I don't know what you want.
Well, I'm asking for my rent because for June, and I gave him a total of $400 altogether, and that was for May and June. It wasn't no $400 for June. So I did pay rent for May and June, and I'm suing for the June part because I was kicked out at the end of May.
You didn't pay any rent in April?
No, I didn't.
You lived there April and May, 2 months?
Partially of May.
Well, on what date did you leave in May?
Oh, May 19th, I'm sorry.
Is that when she left?
Yes, Your Honor, that sounds about right, but she also moved back in shortly after that, and also...
Just a minute, when did she move back in?
To be honest, I don't think she really moved out May 19th because that means that she moved out in between our birthdays, and she was still living with me for her birthday into June. Her birthday is at the end of May, mine is in the beginning. And this is my first time hearing about May 19th. And she moved in my home in February.
Okay.
So I want to say she moved out in June.
How much was she?
Because when she do get situated, it was going to be $200 a month towards the rent. And then, you know, I think we talked about like...
Fine.
Yes.
$200 for rent. When's your birthday?
My birthday's on May the 29th.
Did you take her out for her birthday?
No, ma'am.
Was she still living in your house?
Yes, ma'am.
In the end of May?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
See, usually men don't have a memory for that. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. So you were living there minimally for 2 months. He said you actually moved in February.
No.
You say you moved in the beginning of April.
Yes.
But you paid him no rent in April.
Yes.
And you paid him $400 in May, and you lived there until the end of May.
In the middle of May.
No, you were there for your birthday. He remembers that.
I was not there for my birthday.
Where were you for your birthday?
I was at a friend's house for my birthday.
How are you so certain she was there on her birthday?
I remember the day. I remember the days following up to it. And I also remember the fact that she didn't move out until maybe a week or two after that, after her birthday.
After her birthday.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now I want you to tell me about this tablet that you claim the defendant broke.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on...
Now I want you to tell me about this tablet that you claim the defendant broke.
Yes, I was coming over to work things out with...
On what date?
Probably the last week in August.
So you came to his house?
Yes.
Did you ever move back into the house with your children?
Not.
Did you ever stay over between the beginning of June and August? Did you ever stay over at the defendant's house? He's looking at you.
No, I did not.
Is that right?
No, Your Honor, that's not true.
Well, I have verification, so... I have proof that I was not in his home overnight.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, here you go. And prior to that, like I said, I was...
Just a second. This says that you didn't move in there until June 25th.
Right. And that's why, because I was staying with a friend when I had removed...
All this says is that you moved in there June 25th.
Right.
Okay, would you give this back to her, please? Very good. Now, you went over there to try to work things out in August. Had he invited you over?
Yes.
Okay, you came over by yourself or with the children?
By myself.
Okay, what time?
It was maybe during the day,
What do you mean maybe during the day? What does that mean?
About 11 or 12.
Okay, and you came over, and what happened?
I was walking as he let me in his front door, to let me in, we're walking down this long hall to get to his apartment, and kind of like halfway to his apartment, he kind of grabs my belongings out the side of my, on the side of me, and that's when my tablet has slipped out onto the floor / apartment into the hall.
So it fell?
Yes.
Are we finished here? Are we done?
No, Your Honor. I also have a counter suit.
Forget it. You have a counterclaim for supporting her and her children for the months she was living with you. I don't want to hear it. Two people decide to live together. It doesn't work out. They go their separate ways. She's not entitled to any rent back because your agreement was she was supposed to pay $200 a month rent, which is exactly what she did. And there was nothing vicious about what happened with your tablet that fell to the ground that was wrapped up in your sweater, right?
Yes, but he was horseplaying, though.
We're done. Goodbye. Your case is dismissed.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It wasn't fair. He broke something of mine.
She actually dropped her tablet herself. She had it in her arm like this.
He should replace it. That's it.
And as I was removing the items from her hand, being a gentleman,
he was like, he'll pay for it.
She did this and it fell, and it's not my fault.
There's no more continue as a friendship.
I got to protect my heart.
I wish him the best.
It really just describes her character and her personality.
This bloody pussy mess is how this puppy came to me.
You don't know what you're doing.
Puppy problems from an inexperienced breeder.
You have a dog that's aggressive. It bites one of the puppies on the ear. The puppy eventually lost the ear.
Are more little dogs in danger?
Her selling them at 5 weeks old and lying to people.
All these babies are now AKC registered. Well, that's not true.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Kara Albers is suing Kimberly Parker for breach of contract regarding the breeding of their German Shepherds.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 313 on the calendar, the matter of Albers versus Parker.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Albers, what do you do for a living?
I collect SSI for heart disease.
And you?
I'm a dog groomer.
And you also breed dogs?
Occasionally.
You bought a dog from Miss Parker. When?
Approximately the middle of March, I responded to a no cow for sale ad.
And she was selling German Shepherd puppies?
Not at the time. I just bought the adult.
How old was the dog?
4.
And why were you selling her?
She didn't get along with one of my other dogs, and it was creating a safety issue.
Had you ever had a litter with her?
No.
How long had you had her since she was a puppy?
I had her about a year and a half.
Where did you get her from?
I got her from a breeder who had, believe her original story was that she had been returned. Someone was going to breed her, but then they had some kind of home issues, so they returned the dog. So the woman who bred her sold her to me.
So you got her when she was 2.5?
Yes.
And you never bred her?
No.
Well, why didn't you have her neutered within the year and a half that you had her?
I had attempted to breed her, but it didn't take for whatever reason. But if I had spayed her, then her price would have gone up as well. And then
what do you mean her price would have gone up?
Because it cost more to spay her, so I would have had to cover the cost of the spay, and also it's easier to microchip them if they do that all while they're getting spayed. And
how much did you pay for her?
$1,000, but I got her in package with another dog. But I don't have that other dog anymore.
What did you do with the other dog?
He actually was returned to the breeder. She wanted him back. She had first rights or whatever, and she called me up. One of her males had died, and she wanted that one back, so I agreed to give him back to her.
Okay, this is what happened. Idea what you're doing, decided to breed this dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you sold this dog to her, did you enter into a contract with her?
The original...
Just a second. That's either a yes or a no. Did you enter into a contract with her?
Yes.
In writing, as breeders do. I know. I bought many. And if you're buying a dog, they will either sell a dog as a pet, and it's at a certain price. If you're buying a dog for the purpose of breeding the dog and you want the papers, it's a different price. Yes. And that's in writing. So my question is, did you have a written contract with her?
We didn't write it down because when she finished paying for the dog, it was supposed to be the bill of sale as well.
So show it to me. Did
she never signed it because she never finished paying for the dog.
How much was the dog?
The dog was $150 on an Ocala for sale website, which I have.
Can I see
the actual?
So you were selling the dog for $150?
Yes, for a pet
Just
only.
a second. You were selling the dog for $150. How much did you, Miss Albers, how much did you pay her?
I paid her $50 when we picked the dog up with my husband, and we agreed to pay at a later date. And when
did you ever pay her
yes.
the $150?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you got your $150 for the dog that you say you sold as a pet.
No, actually, because when we went outside, she gave me the money, and I put it in my pocket because it was a $20 bill with a bunch of ones in the middle. And when I asked her about it, she said it was because she didn't want Gary to know that the insurance on their Suburban had expired and that she needed to pay the insurance on that, and she didn't want him to know because he didn't know the insurance had left.
So she gave you $50,
so
and how much
she gave me $25 plus so $24.
So she actually paid you $75 for the dog. I believe her. I actually believe her. Nobody makes up that kind of story.
Well,
Put your hand down.
Yes. I had...
First of all, you have no business breeding dogs if you know nothing about it. Okay, so what you did was you took this dog, and then later you called her up and said you wanted to use one of her male dogs as a stud. You agreed to that. I don't care what excuse you're going to make. You agreed to that because she didn't come over in the middle of the night and put the two dogs together. You agreed to let her use dog as stud. Now, what you say is you usually get pick of litter for that unless you get a stud fee. She agreed to pick of litter, but you said to her, because I sold the dog to you as a pet, and now you want to breed the dog and make money, I want a second pick of litter.
Yes.
That's actually perfectly reasonable, and she consented to that.
Yes.
So you get 2 from the litter. Now you have this litter of puppies that you have no idea what to do with them, and now you have a dog that's demonstrated that it was aggressive, that's never been bites one of the puppies on the ear. And it bites that puppy so badly so that the puppy eventually lost the ear, right?
Yes.
And that's one of the puppies that you took or not?
Yes, it is.
Just a second. It's one of the puppies that you took.
That she surrendered to me because she couldn't get him veterinary care.
Just a second. At some point, did you go to the house to look at the puppies?
I did go to...
On what date?
The same day that she surrendered the first...
What date?
Oh, what date was that?
October 3rd.
Do you remember?
October 3rd.
And when had your dog had the litter?
On September the 4th and 5th.
How many?
7.
All living?
Oh, yes. It took like a day and a half to deliver.
Okay. A month later, you noticed that one of the puppies had been bitten by the mother.
Yes, and I...
And you called her?
Yes.
And asked her to come over?
No.
What did you do?
I asked her, what can I do? Because I know she was a groomer and works for a vet. And it was really early in the morning. She was apparently getting ready to go to work. And she asked me to meet her roommate at their house, which I did. We drove to his house.
With the puppy?
Yes.
And what did you do?
I gave it to him. He was supposedly supposed to meet another lady who was a vet tech. Her name was Barb something, and which apparently he did go there, but Ms. Parker called me back and said that it was out of her expertise because he was too severe. So we were calling around different vets. I was calling. I'd call my friend up to get some money, and then she said, well, meet my other friend. So we met her at Dunkin' Donuts, which is the which she supposedly was supposed to take it. I had a vision that she had some veterinary skills as well.
Whatever. You had no idea. You and your husband had no idea what to do. I mean, it's a month-old puppy.
Well,
you can find a vet. It will cost you. Listen to me. Listen to me. You can find a vet, Miss Albers.
Yes.
All it is, it will cost you money.
Yes.
Now, when you gave her your puppy that was injured on your watch,
yes.
How much money did you give her to take care of the vet bill?
I asked her to provide me a vet bill, and she never did.
Just
I
a
had
second.
full intentions to pay it.
Just a second. If you had full intentions of paying it, then what did you need to meet her in Dunkin'
Because she asked me to take it to her vet, because she works there.
Just a second. She wouldn't have even known the puppy was injured if you didn't call her. What did you have to call her for? I'm thinking, if I'm breeding the puppies and they're 4 weeks old, they're not just born, they're 4 weeks old, and one of them is injured, I put it in my car without a lot of drama, and I take it to the vet. Who had seen these puppies in the 4 weeks that they were born?
Nobody.
Nobody saw them. Nobody told you these are the puppy shots that the dog should have. So you didn't take the puppies to a vet. And did you ever take the dog to a vet when she was pregnant?
No. I went to get her x-ray, and I decided not to. They told me they had to do
Just a sec. Don't tell me what they told you. The answer is you never took the dog to a vet.
No.
So when you found out the puppy was pregnant, you said, I could deal with this myself.
Yes,
And you never took one of the puppies was injured. You didn't take the puppy to a vet. You called her.
Because she works for a vet, so I figured...
Doesn't matter.
And I could have took her to my vet, but she said take it to hers.
You could take the puppy to her vet. All you needed was money.
I did have money.
Well, I don't see you spending any money.
No, because I asked her for a vet bill
Just
and
a
she never
second.
provided me one.
I'm going to ask you a couple of other questions before I say to you goodbye. You had several puppies that you sold.
3.
How old were they when you sold them?
8 weeks. I'd gotten them.
Just a second. You sold them at 8 weeks. What was the name and address of the vet that you took the puppies to for their first shots to be dewormed before you sold them? The name of the vet.
I had...
There are only 2 things you can say. This is the name of the vet, and this is where the vet is, or I didn't take them to a vet before I sold them.
I did not take them to a vet before I sold them because I bought them.
You have no business breeding dogs. You don't know what you're doing. And it's particularly frustrating for people who really love animals and who understand that it's the person that has the responsibility to take a puppy and have it checked out, give it its first puppy shot, make sure it doesn't have parvovirus, make sure it can go out. It's all of these things. You can't just... That's ridiculous. You sold 3 puppies. As far as I'm concerned, you had no right to do that. How much did you sell the puppies for?
I sold one of them for $800 because of our agreement.
Just a second. You sold one for $800, and that's one.
The other 2 were for $5.
And it cost you no money.
That's not true, because I bought their shots at a feed store, which actually Miss Parker suggested I could do, and Tractor Supply was a call, and I also bought the dewormer.
Just a second. You don't know what you're doing.
Feed store sells parvo shot virus. It's $8, and they come and you do it yourself, like giving an insulin shot.
If somebody shows you what to do, if you go to a vet and you get some instruction, not from somebody who runs a feed store.
Well, it says it in the envelope when you buy the
Please
shot.
give me a break.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The injury was made worse by the fact that she didn't treat it for days. This bloody, pussy mess is how this puppy came to me.
Is that the one that you donated?
Yes, that's the one that we donated, Vincent Van Gogh.
Just a second, can I see that?
And later today...
How long have you been landlords?
I've been a landlord for 30 years, Your Honor.
Well, maybe you've been getting away with this kind of nonsense, but you're not going to get away with this kind of nonsense here.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kara Albers says Kimberly Parker breached their agreement. Kimberly is countersuing for the value of 3 puppies, the return of a dog, and harassment.
Now, you have 10 seconds to tell me what you're suing her for.
Well, when we came into the agreement with the second pick of litter, I was supposed to get the papers because Kira was never...
You're not getting any papers. I hope that you don't breed the dog again.
I didn't want to.
Good. Next. What else are you suing her for?
That's it.
That's it. Good. So your case is dismissed. You have a ridiculous countersuit. You got 4 puppies, right?
Yes.
4. You got pick of litter. You got the second dog, which you are entitled to. Now, you got 2 other dogs. One has 1 ear. Did you sell that puppy?
No, we donated him to Dogs for Heroes.
So that dog you donated to someone?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you do with the 3rd dog? Was that dog also injured?
Yes.
How?
Her ear. I have pictures of her ear the day.
That was the second dog
that was the second dog that had the very severe injury to its ear. This is the picture she sent me that morning of the dog who she said the mother bit him. The injury was made worse by the fact that she didn't treat it for days. She didn't tell me about it for days. This bloody, pussy mess is how this puppy came to me.
Is that the one that you donated?
Yes, that's the one that we donated, Vincent Van Gogh.
And the second puppy, what did you do with the second puppy?
I still have her.
Did you sell?
Asking about him, but I didn't want to advertise them until after the ears were mostly healed.
Did they have shots?
Yes, I have their health certificates with me here because in the state of Florida, you cannot sell a dog without the proper health certificates that they obtain at 8 weeks old from a licensed veterinarian. The shots that her and I discussed that I was originally supposed to help her with is that some breeders choose to and some don't. I'm one that does choose to give them shots at 6 weeks old because it takes 2 weeks for the immunizations to start working, and the puppies are ready for new homes at 8 weeks. So I wanted to make sure that they had, built up some immunity, and by the time they got their second shots from a licensed veterinarian. She has them advertised on Facebook at 5 weeks old saying that, oh, they're 8 weeks old and they're ready to go to new homes. I have the screenshots of her selling them at 5 weeks old and lying to people.
Can I see that?
They're still in my home, actually.
Oh, they're not, because animal control.
Visits.
Animal control went to her house
Yeah, they were at my dad's, and I told him I would control that.
These are the pictures of when she says right there that they'll be ready for homes on Halloween, and then here's her saying on October 11th that they're ready for homes now.
Yeah, because people already paid for them, so they were not available.
Animal control went to her.
Shh. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
What's wrong with the porch?
There was some damage on the concrete that she left.
Nonsense. This is under the sink?
Correct, Your Honor.
Nonsense. Some of the grout was coming out on the kitchen floor?
Yes, Your Honor. There was some damage.
Fix it!
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kara Albers says Kimberly Parker breached their agreement regarding the breeding of their German Shepherds. Kimberly is countersuing for the value of 3 puppies, the return of a dog, and harassment.
Okay, well, this was September 18th. All these babies are now AKC registered. Well, that's not true.
Exactly. That was after the fact. We were promised papers with our breeding agreement, second pick. And so I listed it that way. That's the only reason why I bred the dog.
Your case is dismissed. We're done here. You're ahead of the game.
Why is our excuse? You may step out.
Some people shouldn't be dog owners, period.
No, my dog's going to get fixed, and
I didn't know the kind of person she is.
I'll never do this again because I lost so much out of this.
She's a liar and a thief.
It was unfounded because I was not being cruel to my animals.
What this future holds in store for my dog.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tao versus Bradford Betts. Step forward.
Sharon Tao is suing her former landlords, Harold Bradford and Margot Betts, for the return of her security deposit.
Ms. Tao, when did you become a tenant of the defendants?
February 14, 2015.
And when did you leave?
May 30th, 2016.
According to your complaint, you had a $2,700 security deposit with the defendants. When your tenancy concluded, they returned only part of that.
Correct.
How much did they return to you?
A little over $1,500.
And I understand that you did not cash that check.
I did not.
Do you have it with you?
I do.
I'd like to see it, please. And you did not cash the check because it was not the full amount, and
Correct.
you believe that you left the house in pristine condition.
I did. I had it repainted. I had vacuumed, cleaned.
And I assume you have photographs?
I do.
Of when you left?
Yes.
I'd like to see them. Is this, Ms. Tao, is this all you received from the defendant?
Yes.
There was no itemized thing in here, no statement? Was it in the same envelope?
No, it was in a different envelope with no post date. They put it in my P.O. box.
Do you have a copy of the itemized list of what was wrong?
Yes.
A copy of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
May I see it?
Here it is, right here.
Okay, good. You don't have to give it to me. She found it.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing.
But those are the zippers, Mark. Okay.
But it's not.
Would you show these photographs to the defendant, please? Okay, this is the itemized list. Let me take a look at it. Now I'd like to see your photographs.
Yes, I like to zipper these.
I took the photographs with my phone, which does have a date on the photographs.
I mean, because I'm looking at the list that you sent to her,
Right.
and it's mostly nonsense.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. What's wrong with the porch?
There was some damage on the concrete that she left stain.
Nonsense. This is under the sink? Fine to me. Some of the grout was coming out on the kitchen floor?
Yes, Your Honor. There was some damage
Fix
there.
it! How long have you been landlords?
I've been a landlord for 30 years, Your Honor.
Well, maybe you've been getting away with this kind of nonsense, but you're not going to get away with this kind of nonsense here. She returned this property to you according to your photographs. Broom clean. Not perhaps ready for a new tenant without having you go in there and doing a cleaning. That's what you're supposed to do. She's supposed to leave the place broom clean, no holes in the walls, no wine stains on the carpet. It's your responsibility as landlords to deliver a new place in spotless condition. It's not her responsibility to deliver your premise in a spotless condition to a new tenant. She returned this premises to you in really good shape.
The fact she left it, but we had to spend money to correct her problem. We had odor in the house. We had to paint the walls, Your Honor. We had to steam clean the carpet twice to get the odor out. We could not rent that property out to anybody else. We spent over $2,200 trying to get that place back in place.
She gets her security deposit back. That's it. Anything else?
I feel that, Your Honor, that we spend
Just a second. Just a second.
$22,500.
You take this check, cash it.
Okay.
Good. Perfect. So we're going to return that to her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300. We're done.
Thank you very much.
Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
We definitely spent money trying to correct her problem with that unit.
They're just not really good landlords.
The unit where we had foul in the walls and in the unit. We also have dirty carpet.
They just wanted the rent.
And we spend over